Chief Meteorologist Joel Barnes here. We do have a new tornado warning that we'd have to tell you about. We're currently on Max 2. Here is Max 1. If you're watching the Oscars and if you are not in the main storm zone, you can follow the Oscars. You can go to abc.com. You can download the ABC app, or if you have Hulu, I think you can watch the Oscars on Hulu as well, because we're going to be covering severe thunderstorms and tornado warnings probably the next 3 hours. So if you're hoping to watch the Oscars on regular TV, you're probably not going to be able to see it for the next few hours, as we have tornado warnings here beginning to move into West Tennessee. So let's start with the stuff that's going on right now in our area. These are not severe thunderstorm warnings. If you're watching us up into Martin, Palmersville, that's just a little bit of lightning, an elevated thunderstorm, and no rotation in with that one. Everything that has been rotating tonight is along the main line, which is getting awful close to the Mississippi. We've got multiple tornado warnings, one just out of Dyersburg, but it does include western Dyer County. It's, again, straight line winds is the main thing, but there are a few kinks showing up in timing. Already well out of the way, because these storms are moving about 55 miles an hour. But in general, Jackson after 8 o'clock, Humboldt, Trenton real close to 8 o'clock, be showing on up. Dyersburg probably a little after 7:30. So you've got about 30 minutes out till this big storm line gets here. So we'll put it in motion. Very fast moving line of thunderstorms that's coming on by, and very intense straight line winds along a huge section of this line. Down south, we've got a couple of little individual cells that are showing mild rotation, but here's our main concern for hail as well. I think it's going to stay in our southwestern counties. You need just that pretty intense storm coming into Memphis right now. A lot of lightning, a lot of hail, but those are those individual cells, so there's definitely some concern there. But our main event tonight is right here. This is this line that's coming on through. Still about 15 minutes out till it crosses the Mississippi River. So it looks like our storms are going to be from about 7:15 to about 10:30 tonight. As I said, they're moving 55 miles an hour, so it's only going to take about 3 hours for this line to get from the Mississippi to the Tennessee River tonight. So very fast moving line of storms, which is extending. Now we got tornado warnings all the way up into central Illinois, and then all the way down into deep East Texas. I'm Chief Meteorologist Joel Barnes. Also, we have meteorologist Jordan Hubbard, who's in here as well, taking a look at that storm. Jordan, I know you got people that you know in Dyersburg. What are you seeing on that storm?
So there is a little bit of a rotation that popped up just to the east, or rather just to the west of Blytheville, over in Mississippi County, Arkansas. That's what triggered the warning to begin with, and I did put a track just on that area of rotation, and it's going to cross the river somewhere around 7:16, 7:17, and that would carry it into southwestern Dyer County. It would stay mostly over farmland, but the community of Junction is out there in rural southwest Dyer County, and Evansville is on the southwestern side of the city limits of Dyersburg. And both of those, you've got about 30 minutes for Junction, 35 minutes for the community of Evansville, and almost, we'll look at 7:39 for that area of rotation coming into Dyersburg proper. Now off to the east of Dyersburg, I only drew this out for 50 minutes, but this would go south of New Bern. The next concern there would probably be Roellen, the north side of Highway 104, heading between Dyersburg and the Gibson County line. But as of right now, we've got plenty of time. Get in your safe space right now if you're in Junction, Evansville, Dyersburg. I know Dyersburg, the actual city of Dyersburg, is not in the warning, but if it holds together, it is very possible that it comes very close to the Dyersburg, within the 51 bypass loop between North and South Dyersburg. By the way, right in the middle of the edge of this polygon is the Dyersburg.
Before you head to you may want to bring some water and your medication just in case you're in there for a while. But again, these are some pretty fast moving storms. Back on Max 1, here is a look at the latest on the timing. So if you're watching us in Union City, Martin, Humboldt, Milan, Jackson, Huntington, and Luray, if these storms continue to move at 55 miles an hour, there's a look at your timing. So it's going to be pretty close to 8 o'clock in Humboldt. A little after 8:15, we're thinking in Jackson. So again, the yellow, that's our tornado watch. That's out for until 11 p.m. tonight. I think by 11 p.m. our storm event's going to be over. This stuff right out front, I know it's thunderstorming for you up in Martin, but we're not seeing any rotation up here, and this stuff so far down south is behaving itself. That doesn't mean we've ignored it, though, because there could be a couple of thunderstorms that could come into Jackson before the main event, which again is going to show up, we think, here a little over an hour out. But we'll watch this little stuff down here to the south, just in case some of this does try to rotate or produce some hail down near Grand Junction or Bolivar. But again, this stuff up here into Palmersville, heading into Henry County, you don't need to be concerned about that. But you do need to be concerned about the stuff approaching the Mississippi River right now. Intense line of thunderstorms, multiple tornado warnings that are issued right now. All radar indicated rotation along the leading edge of that line. Looks like we've lost a radar, lost some data here in a second, so hopefully we'll get that to come on back. All right, so here's our, again, tornado warning up here to the north. Look how fast it's already out of the polygon. The straight line up here moving up, approaching 55. This will probably stay north of Dyer County, the northern tornado warning, but the second one, this one that's approaching Blytheville right now on 55, that will be moving across the Mississippi River here in the next 5 to 10 minutes. And it's going to be very close. If you're watching us in Dyersburg or Halls, you need to be prepared to head to that safe spot as this storm gets a little closer. You don't have to go immediately, but make sure you can get there within 30 seconds to a minute before this storm gets here. But we're going to continue to watch it. We'll update you here as the line comes by. But right now, the rotation, a couple different spots along that line approaching 55. It's still west of the Mississippi River. So again, you still got some time. We're looking at multiple different rotation looks into this. And again, minor kinks here, but that doesn't mean one won't spin up as it comes on by. But everywhere along this line where you see the reds and the green coming together, probably over 50-mile-an-hour gusts, possibly as high as 75 as they come on by. Again, here's the timing. If you're watching us in Jackson, Milan, Humboldt, as the line does come racing through, and we will have more tornado warnings along the line as it comes here. It's not a guarantee we're going to have tornadoes, but there will be enough rotation to issue tornado warnings, and we could have multiple little spin-ups that are going to come by with this line, but almost all of us are going to be hit with those strong straight line winds, which again could get as high as 70 to 80 miles an hour as the line comes racing on through. So got again a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings down here near Memphis as well. You see that one polygon there, that one's heading into Oakland. So we may see a little hailmaker try to get us into Jackson before the main line shows up. Any of this stuff, though, that does come through, if it stays below severe criteria, we like that. This may eat up some of the energy, but these also do have a outside chance of rotating. So far, they're not, but they doesn't mean they won't. So I'm going to take a quick look here at the velocity inside those little storms down to the south, just to make sure. Last time I looked, there was no rotation with those, and it doesn't look like there's much right now. You don't see any of them bright reds, those bright greens, so those are probably just thunderstorms, maybe some hail that's going to show up in those. Now, there is a warning back here, but that's along the main line over through the Marville area, and then we'll track our main line up here to the north. So it's approaching Osceola, Golden Lake here in a few minutes, going right through Blytheville and Ashport. Jordan, you got a closer look at that here?
It looks a little bit better than it did a few scans ago. It's starting to look a little more straight line windy than tornado spin. But again, we've got bright red on, somewhat bright green. So it's, I'm going to keep an eye on this pretty closely. And there is an airport right there in Blytheville that probably has some reports coming in for wind speed, so we can either tell whether or not it was straight line winds coming through the area. I'll pop the warnings back on. They did shrink this polygon just a touch. They cut most of Lauderdale County out of this. It's still right there along the South Fork of the Forkadere River, there between that and just north of Interstate 155, Highway 412 to the west of Dyersburg. But as of right now, still looks like there's a little bit of a signature. We'll put a circle around it. That's the straight line. Give me just a moment. Right here, there's a little bit of a kink in the line right there, just to the northeast of downtown Blytheville, Arkansas. That's where the concern for a brief spin up is going to be. It looks like if you know anybody in Armorel, Arkansas, that's it's going to more than likely miss them to the north, but that would also bring it right into rural southwest Dyer County. It would miss most of the plants along the Mississippi River there just to the west of Dyersburg near Ayers. But we are looking at rotation coming into the area here probably within the next 10 minutes or so.
All right, back on Max 1 real quick. There is that line, as it's a long stretching line of storms that is extending. Let's take a closer look at that line itself. You notice it's a different radar we're looking at, so let's go back. All right, so you notice it's extending from between Como and New Madrid down through Portageville, approaching Steele there, and Blytheville, still just west of the river. We come all the way down here. You notice that's where it's the waviest. Do you see? That's why that's where we have the concern for the tornado warning. So it looks like there's not a lot of lightning, but there is a lot of wind with this system. So it may not have all the ingredients to produce supercell type thunderstorms, but this is still going to be an intense wind event, it looks like, as it comes on by. So we'll wrap things back up to the top here. Again, if you were tuning in hoping to watch the Oscars and you're not in the path of one of these storms, you can go to abc.com, catch the Oscars that way. You can download the ABC app, or if you have Hulu, I believe you can watch the Oscars live there, because we're going to be covering, I think, live coverage probably the next 2 to 3 hours as this line comes by, as I expect us to have multiple tornado warnings on the way. So up here to the northeast, there's a thunderstorm. Not so far, not much as far as winds or hail with that one. We've got a cluster of a few down here to the south. So we do have a handful of lightning strikes here that will be moving over into Henry County. A couple of pockets of some heavy rain, but there's no rotation up there with that storm. We're also got a cluster of new little cells going up in and around Madison, Gibson County. One little lightning strike southwest of Fayette Corners, but as of now, none of this looks like it's anything we need to be overly concerned about right now, that stuff. Down south, though, these are a little stronger, so watch these coming up. There was a little hail maker west of Memphis, so we're going to watch this cluster of these storms and see if they try to rotate, but as of now, very little rotation in those. Now, the main event is this. Here's our line with the 2 tornado warnings, one out for New Madrid, one just to the west of Dyersburg. We're getting these strong winds coming in out of the south. That this storm line is colliding with these strong northwest winds behind it, and that's what's creating the lift. So we just got a brand new severe thunderstorm warning. I like that they didn't put a tornado warning on this whole line, but there is a new severe thunderstorm warning that was just issued there. Jordan's going to get us the information on that here in just a minute. But again, even if we don't get tornadoes along this line, it is a very dangerous line. Winds could gust 60 plus for a lot of us. We had reports of near 75 mile-an-hour winds earlier in Jonesboro from this storm system. So there's a look at that wind line. That is intense. Look at those bright colors that are coming on by. And a lot of lightning with this northern area. So again, that extends just west of the Mississippi River. Should be crossing the river here in the next 5 to 10 minutes, depending on where you're at along the river, extending down into Ashport now. But to me, almost all this looks like straight line winds. But again, the problem with these spin-ups that you get along one of these lines is they can happen very quickly. They can show up sometimes even between radar scans. So that's why we're telling you, if this line is approaching you, you probably just want to get away from windows in your house. Make sure you're in a middle room. Just in case there is a spin up, but just in case you get a 75 mile-an-hour wind, it could take down a tree, can come crashing through your home, through the windows. So definitely, probably if you got a multi-story house, you probably just want to stay down in the lower area as this line comes through. I'm not saying if you're watching us in Jackson right now, but you need to get there. But when this line shows up, again, if you're in a multi-story house, you probably should stay in the lowest floor just as the line comes on through. So here's our most likely area if there was a little spin up there east of Blytheville. So that's where our most significant kink is with this line. Let's head over to Max 2 with Jordan. Jordan, what's the latest on that severe thunderstorm warning?
So that severe thunderstorm warning, it's been out for a while. They just trimmed out eastern Arkansas, or not eastern Arkansas, but Clay and Greene County, Arkansas, west of the Boot Heel, and they clipped out what appears to be Dunklin County, excuse me. Still in effect for western Dyer, northwestern Lauderdale, and all of Lake County, but it is tagged for 70 mile per hour winds and quarter-sized hail. We are getting a new warning. That is going to be another severe thunderstorm warning for It's this big one they just issued. It's going to include Tipton, Lauderdale, and Shelby counties. So it's going to be more of a Memphis market thing. So we'll go back to our storm in Dyer County just in just a moment. It's not quite in Dyer County yet, but there is something I wanted to mention that I saw on radar. That velocity, you can see velocity. There is that little inflow right into the right to the west. Oh well, you get a new scan and it goes away. So we'll back it up a scan and I'll show you what I was talking about. Right here into the west of Barfield, right there. That's the inflow notch where we were concerned for a brief spin up, but again, with that latest scan, it's bowed out a little bit, which is going to mean it's going to become more of a straight line wind threat unless it tries to recycle and spin up again. But again, these are linear storms. If they spin up, it's going to be quick, and we just said it was going to be between radar scans and may have not have produced, but you just saw an example of some rotation getting wiped out between radar scans there over in Mississippi County, Arkansas. Things to the south of this line starting to get a little messy as we have some cells going out ahead of the line that are even starting to form a line of their own over into North Mississippi. That would creep into Hardeman, McNary, Harden County later on this evening, but right now I'm going to be keeping an eye on this, our lone tornado warning for now, Joel.
Okay, yeah, keep an eye on that, as that is definitely our most dangerous storm. Here, let's head back to Max 1. There's that whole line. As you notice, it's beginning to cross the Mississippi River right now with probably 60-mile-an-hour gusts, maybe some even higher ones that could be showing up along that line. Again, our tornado watch is out until 11 p.m. tonight. That includes all of West Tennessee. And you notice there's a lot of stuff out here, but none of this is doing anything. That was when we thought there might have been a chance for a rotating storm or two out in front of the main line. The problem is there's just not enough energy. The dew point only in the mid to upper 50s. There were some forecast models thought it could reach as high as the mid 60s earlier, which is typically needed to produce supercell thunderstorms. But we've got this moving on up here. There is a decent little cell north of McKenzie producing some rain and lightning. But when we look inside it, really not much for gusty winds, and we're not seeing any hail. As well as the stuff here in Madison County, Haywood County. None of this right now is anything of concern. You probably got about an hour until things start to get a little sticky here in Jackson. That's from the main line, but we're also watching this. There's only a couple of these are warned now for some hail, maybe some winds in there, but they look more like hail makers to me, this stuff out in front of the line. And so it'll begin to move into Fayette County here. So we'll watch this one as it comes up. This one near Hickory Valley could head up into Hardeman County. But none of this stuff is concerning as this. So here's our main storm line. This is the one that's producing the rotation from New Madrid tonight down through Cooter. You notice there's a little inflow notch, inflow notch, inflow notch. So there's definitely multiple chances for some spin-ups along this line. So here is that line extending. Again, very strong winds right now passing the Mississippi River. This extends. You notice it's getting very close to some of our counties. It's just east of Blytheville. There's the river over in Lauderdale County. Ashport, it's approaching you. So then it looks like Luckett, Arp, Central, Ripley. Ripley, you probably got about 10, 15 minutes till that line shows up. You can see it now extending right across the river. And as we said, we were going to get a big line, but with a chance for some spin-ups. That we were very confident in that. Weren't overly confident in the rotating storms out in front of the line, and I'm sure glad that those didn't pan out. But that doesn't mean we're done with the tornado threat, because, again, anywhere along this line, some quick spin-ups will be coming on by. So that tornado warning out till 7:45, the one up to the north there. So down south here, Ashport, again, you got some gusty winds on the way. You probably want to stay away from windows in Ashport. And here's the latest on the timing for the storms. Roughly Jackson somewhere close to 8:20, Trenton, Martin around 8 o'clock, Humboldt maybe a little after 8 as well for this main line. Jordan, you seeing anything, any more kinks or anything showing up in that line? Or we got a shot of Dyersburg, right?
It is starting to get a little straight line windy. They did end up canceling the tornado warning for Dyer and Lauderdale counties there. What I do have pulled up is the live camera overlooking. This is Dyersburg. I believe this is pointed south. This is on top of Dyersburg, the Dyersburg Hospital there on East Tickle. But right now, things are getting ready to move into Dyer County. I actually have, not on max, but I have the reports from the Dyersburg Airport right now. Wind speeds are only about 10 miles per hour. So if you're in Dyersburg, you're probably going to want to hunker down here very soon, because even though the tornado warning is canceled, you are still under a severe thunderstorm warning capable of producing up to 70 miles per hour wind. But we've also seen this same storm back in Jonesboro in Craighead County, Arkansas, produce gusts of 75 miles per hour. So this is certainly a powerful storm coming in, but they are, National Weather Service in Memphis just says pretty strong winds moving east across the river from Mississippi County, tagged them at 65 to 70 miles per hour. So Dyer County, hunkered down, Lake County hunkered down. It's about to get very windy here in about 10-15 minutes.
All right, so no active tornado warnings right now, but still a very intense wind line, which like it is going to be coming on into Halls, Folks, and Dyersburg, Gates. As Jordan said, see if there's some smaller communities that can get showing up there. Big Boy Junction, Richwood, Stinger, Tiger Tail, Halesport, Bradley Town. So again, that's the lot of smaller communities there right along the river, but those strong winds are on the way for you guys. So Ashport down south, still strong winds extending, so it looks like right along the county line, Garland, Gilt Edge, you could be dealing with that as well. So I do want to get to the timing again one more time, and then I'll head back to the wall. Let me see if I can, just trying to reset some of these graphics for you. So, because this system's moving so fast, it's moving about 55 miles an hour. So by the time we set these graphics or draw up a timing on it, they're already gone or out of the range. So, but pretty much the storm right now is sitting right over the river. So let's put a brand new timing on this, again at 55 miles an hour. If it continues the same general direction. So there we go. So Jackson around 8:20. That's the time frame we're thinking for you. You do see some of the other communities that are in there. So again, we are under that tornado threat tonight, as well as the straight line winds. Quick recap here, and then we may go back to the Oscars and stay just on our live feeds, which is Facebook Live, our YouTube channel, our Roku, either one of our apps. You can get our live weather coverage. You can also go to the website, wbbjtv.com. So if you're watching this on TV, you want to continue the weather coverage. Obviously, if there's a tornado warning, we'll break back into TV. Okay, but we're going to give a couple more minutes just to see if they reissue a tornado on that line. And if they don't, we'll go back and we'll still stay our live coverage, though, on all of our social media platforms as well as our website. But we're still under a level 3 tonight. 10% chance for your county having a tornado touchdown. Temperatures are beginning to drop as the line comes by. The dew point hanging around 60. When it gets up here, these ones into the mid 63, 66. Those are a little bit more concerning. When you start to get that much more moisture in, the storms can be that much stronger. So here's our line coming on in. Gusty winds approaching Dyersburg. Again, this stuff up here to the north, not really doing a whole lot. There is a little bit of thunderstorm activity, but it is not severe southwest of Paris. None of this coming into Jackson right now is a concern yet, but it will be a little bit later. These down south just look like just basic thunderstorms. Not seeing any rotation in them. Probably some hail with these that are coming on in up from the south. But here's our main line. This one extending from New Madrid, crossing the river right now down through Dyersburg. A severe thunderstorm warning is out along that line. That's where it is. We can pick it up real good on the velocity product. Approaching Ridgely right now, extending down to the west of Ripley and all the way down, it looks like, south of Memphis along this line. So here it is as it slides on off to the east. We're going to continue to cover this storm again on our live platforms. Dyersburg, you probably got about 15 minutes till the strong winds do come into your area. Again, we're watching anywhere along the see these little kinks along the line. That's what we're watching for. Those show up, we may end up getting a tornado warning. Here is a look at the latest on the timing. We will break back into TV when the storms get closer to Madison, Gibson counties, our main counties, even if there isn't a tornado warning. But if we get more tornado warnings, we'll break back in. We're going to send you back to the Oscars. Again, join our live coverage. Just search WBBJ on YouTube, Facebook, or our apps, or our website. All right, back to the Oscars. All right, thanks for sticking with us on our live feed. Again, if you're wondering why we broke back out of our live feed on TV, because we only cover tornado warnings that are out on television wall to wall. Now, if we start to get reports of 70-mile-an-hour winds, then obviously we'll break back into TV. Also, the storms technically aren't into most of our counties where the majority of our viewers are. Here in at Wbbj, our main counties are Madison, Crockett, Gibson, Carroll, Henderson, and Chester. Now, we also break in, and Harden. We also break in, though, for Hardeman, McNary, Haywood, Dyer, Obion, Weakley, Henry, Benton, Decatur, but you know a lot of those counties, if you're watching us online, if you turn on the television, you're getting news maybe from Nashville or even Memphis, and you're not getting news here in Jackson. But since a lot of these counties are close, and we know we got a lot of people who watch our live footage from all over West Tennessee, that's why we continue to do our live coverage online, even though you may not be able to pick us up on TV. At least there's one good thing that's come out of the internet, right? All right, so here's the latest before we get over to Jordan with an update out of Dyersburg. See these storms coming up here from the south? These ones that we're watching closely, but what they might actually help cut the severe weather down some. These ones that are coming up here, if these show up and they can eat up some of the energy out in front of the main line, that might actually be good for us and steal some of the energy. But then again, sometimes when thunderstorms can combine together, they can create their own sort of problems. So, but we're going to watch things very closely here. We'll do want to kind of put this in motion. You notice here over the last hour, all that stuff coming up from the south is pretty much moving to the northeast. So I'll try to get a little bit of a time on that. That may come through. So if the first stuff shows up, again, it's about the same time. See that around Jackson, 8:20. And if we do the same thing along our main line, okay, that has those real strong winds, it's also going to be in Jackson close to around 8:20. So we're going to get the storms from the south, plus we're going to get the storms coming up from the west that are going to kind of come together. So things are going to get real rough here in Jackson, probably around 8:15 or so. So if you're watching us from the hub city, that's probably got a little less than an hour before that line shows on up. Jordan, what are you seeing out of the Dyersburg camera?
Nothing yet. Again, this connection may not be all that stable. It doesn't look like we're getting a whole lot of frames, but you can see every now and then you can see a shift. It'll wiggle a little bit. But winds still have not picked up. The most recent scan at 7:15 from the Dyersburg Municipal Airport has wind speeds at 13, gusting up to 18. So they're starting to increase, but Memphis is still worried that there may be some 65 to 70 mile per hour winds embedded in this. We'll hop over to radar real quick and give you a look at what's coming in to Dyer County. Right now, it's pretty much on top of the river right now. The most intense winds are going to be just, according to this radar scan, just to the south of Interstate 155. They are about to issue a downstream severe thunderstorm warning off to the north here for Lake County for severe thunderstorm. It's going to be a severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible tag, and that's just they're extending that whole polygon. Yep, that's going to start to include Gibson, Haywood, Lake, Lauderdale, Obion, and Weakley counties, and Crockett. I skipped Crockett. I'm so sorry, Crockett County. But that is going to be for 70 mile per hour winds and nickel-sized hail. So we're still not quite to severe hail criteria, but we are not far away. And these are radar indicated. We're going to be watching the Dyersburg Airport reports here over the next several minutes as it comes in and comes through South Dyersburg to see what kind of winds we're dealing with. But as of right now, still calm in Dyersburg. You've got about 10 minutes tops to get ready. New Bern, it's going to be about another 5-10 minutes from the other side of Dyersburg before it gets to you. Then we'll keep an eye on Trimble, Yorkville, Bradford, Rutherford, all those communities around Troy, Hornbeak. We'll keep an eye on you all now that you're included. But as of right now, things are we're getting a new scan. So let's take a look at some velocity values here and see, because we're shooting about a mile above the surface here. That's the issue with looking at storms over in far northwest Tennessee, and these don't look as intimidating as they did when they were over northeast Arkansas, but you got to remember we're aiming about 2,000–3,000 feet higher than we were over towards Jonesboro in Dyersburg.
All right, as Jordan said, we are very close to Dyersburg right now. We can kind of draw our little ruler tool, and you'll see that you're 7.5 miles out. So traveling at 55 miles an hour, that gives you about 8–9 minutes. So it's going to be showing up in less than 10 minutes with those gusty winds as well as folks. It's going to be on the way for you. So again, about 10 minutes till the worst of those winds. And the radar may be a couple minutes behind, so I'd say 5 minutes. So just to be safe, but you notice that line extending all the way down to the south. So here's what we are looking at on the radar. Again, we've got non-severe thunderstorm activity up here through Henry County. Most of this so far has been pretty tame coming up out of Bolivar. We're watching that. I like this stuff from the south. I hope it gets us in Jackson before the main line shows up. That would really help. Not a guarantee, but a pretty good chance that it does weaken the main line if we can get this energy to show up first. So there's up north, got a handful of lightning strikes. That's not a severe thunderstorm for you folks in Paris. Here's our new severe thunderstorm warning that Jordan was telling you about. Does include half of Gibson County, half of Weakley County, all of Obion County, all of Dyer County, and then Ripley, the Halls area. That's out until 8:30. That's for this northern line, which we've been watching, producing some very strong straight line winds. This little weak guy coming on into Jackson, just a couple of lightning strikes. This is not the main event. If you're watching us in Jackson, it's probably going to be close to around 8:15, 8:20 when things start to get a little hairy. All right, this stuff down here looks impressive, right? We've got all this lightning and all these bright colors. Well, that's just heavy rain showing up. We're really not seeing much for winds and in that little cell. We've got a brand new severe thunderstorm warning that's filling into the southern section of the line. Jordan's going to have more on that here in a minute. It does include Oakland, though, Fayette Corners, and it looks like it does include Haywood County as well. So that's our latest warning. But this stuff all out in front, I like all of this. I know that's thunderstorms, it looks nasty, but it could eat up some of the energy everywhere that it hits before the main line shows up. So I'm more concerned, I think, about our northern counties right now with the potential of a spin up. This is still our most intense line. You'd see there's still some kinks showing up along the leading edge of this. A couple little hail pockets as well, north and south of Tiptonville. It's less impressive when you get down south of Dyer County. But inside there's still some bright winds, straight line winds. These are at least 60-mile-an-hour gusts along the leading edge, which is coming into Dyersburg here. Looks like in the next 5 minutes, extending down south north of Ripley. So this stuff behind, again, there's still some bright colors, but this is not as impressive as it was. Jordan, what's the latest on that new warning?
The new warning is for the other half of Crockett that's not included in the first warning we covered: eastern Tipton, Fayette, southeastern Lauderdale, Haywood, northwestern Madison County, and the rest of Shelby County from the earlier warning. Wow. Joel, they have this storm moving east at 105 miles per hour.
Which storm is that?
That's the southern storm, the warning they just issued. Tagged for 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts and nickel-sized hail.
So not 105-mile-an-hour winds, but they say the storm itself is moving 105 miles
an hour? Tagged at moving 105 miles per hour.
I think that might be a mistake. Can you ask in chat about that just to make sure that doesn't...
I will...
That doesn't... I think they maybe mistyped something, but we'll see. All right, we're going to head back on to live TV as well. So if you're watching us on your online platform and want to watch that, we're going to break back in over the Oscars. Give me about. All right. We're breaking back in to tell you about our severe thunderstorm warnings, which are continuing tonight on Max 1, please. We'll show you. There's the latest of the timing for that. Again, Dyersburg any minute now coming on in. Humboldt around 8:10. Jackson, we're still looking at 823. We've got 2 brand new severe thunderstorm warnings that we do want to tell you about that include about half of our viewing area. So that's why we're breaking in right now. Again, if you're watching us on the Oscars and these storms are not in your area or going to impact you, you can go to abc.com and watch the Oscars, or you can go to Hulu, or you can also go to download the ABC app, or if you want to watch the Oscars and our weather coverage at the same time. So here's our big line, all right? We've got this stuff out front here, not a big deal into Henry County, just a handful of lightning strikes. This is our new warning up north that's out until 8:30. That does include Crockett, Gibson, Haywood, and Weakley counties. So we've got this little cell coming into Jackson. I don't think it's going to be much of a concern. I do want to highlight that other severe thunderstorm warning for you. We'll zoom this out and we'll highlight that so you can see who that one includes. So there's our southern severe thunderstorm warning. That does include, there you see Crockett, Fayette, Haywood, and now it includes areas in Madison County. So that's again why we're breaking in, just to let you know Jackson not quite under that warning yet, but western Madison County, western Gibson County are under this severe thunderstorm warning till 8:30. This stuff down here south looks impressive, but it's really not producing much in the way of winds, but there is a handful of lightning strikes moving on in. A couple of little weaker storms that we're watching in and around Shelby County. These are all coming up from the south. We want these to show up. If they can get to Jackson before the main wind line comes in, they're going to help weaken the wind line some and steal some of its thunder as they come through. So that's what we're hoping for. We're not going to get as lucky up north. So those little cells aren't going to block this wind line coming on in. We have winds extending through Dyersburg right now up into Cloverdale. See these kinks along the line? Anywhere along there could be a real quick, brief spin-up tornado. Sometimes it could show up and we miss it on the radar scan. That's how fast these spin-ups can happen along a severe thunderstorm line like this. There's still a little inflow notch near Dyersburg we're watching as the winds are coming right through Dyersburg right now. So here's that wind line. As you see, it's moving into Dyersburg, Cloverdale, Folks, Halls. It'll be there in about 5 minutes. It's coming through Ripley right now and extending down Covington. You probably got about 5 minutes till it's through or less into Covington. Tabernacle, you got about 5 minutes. Brownsville looks probably about 15 minutes out, maybe 15 to 20 till that storm gets to you, and it's still looking about 8:15. This main line is going to be coming into Jackson, but we do have 2 different brand new severe thunderstorm warnings that we are watching coming on by. Again, the line extending through Dyersburg. Now, before we broke into TV, the National Weather Service had mentioned something, Jordan, about 105-mile-an-hour moving storm. Did you get any more information on that?
Yeah, it was a typo. It's actually moving at 45, and that's the severe thunderstorm warning for eastern Tipton, eastern Shelby, north and west Fayette County, northwest Madison County, and eastern Crockett County. It's actually moving at 45. The tags are still the same, 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts and nickel-sized hail. In fact, now that storm is past Dyersburg Airport, I'm going to see if we have any gust reports from Dyersburg Municipal. I don't see one, but we also haven't gotten a scan in 10 minutes, so we'll have to wait a little bit longer to see if we get one.
All right, back to Max 1 real quick, then we'll head back to the Oscars here. Unless we get a tornado warning, we'll break back on in, but we did want to tell you about the 2 new severe thunderstorm warnings. Here's again the latest of the timing, close to around 8:20 in Jackson, 8:50 in Lexington, close to 9 o'clock if you're watching us in Camden, Brownsville, right around the top of the hour. We'll continue our weather coverage on all of our online social media platforms as well as our YouTube TV. And so join us on that if you want to continue to watch the weather coverage. We'll head back to the Oscars right now, and we'll break back in here as the storms get a little closer.
I want us to just stay on.
Oh, well, okay.
Who was telling you that? I told him to keep you on.
We're back on. I was waiting to hear something. So, all right, we're back online. We're going to break back into live TV here in a few minutes. So we're as the storm gets a little closer, but right now no tornado warnings out currently. No severe thunderstorm warning out yet for Jackson or Milan, but you will have one that will be issued. So there's a look at the severe thunderstorm warnings that are off to the west. Still got a little bit of time in Jackson. It'll be about 40 minutes. So Jordan, why is this one flashing? Did we get, okay, we just got a new
update.
update.
They upped the speed from 45 to 60.
Okay, so on the storm itself, not the
Right,
yeah.
storm, not the wind speed.
Yeah, but as we told you, that 105 mile an hour moving storm, I figured that was a typo. I've never seen a storm move that fast, at least on planet Earth. So I'm glad that was wrong. But here is a look at the two severe thunderstorm warnings: the one to the north and the one to the south. So basically, they each include several of our counties. So again, the line itself, though, is still a ways away. The reason they drew those polygons so big, because this storm is moving so fast. Do kind of want to get in here real quick and look at that line as it's coming into Dyersburg right now. So you're getting the worst of it right now in Dyersburg. So I'm not seeing really much for any big enough kinks. Let me get the lightning out of the way. We don't need to see that. So as we get going through West Tennessee, down through Sandburg, Hornbeak, Dixie, Troy, Obion, you got about 10 minutes till this gets here. Dyersburg coming right through right now. New Bern, you got about 5 minutes. Yorkville, about 10, 15 minutes. Friendship, about 5, 10 minutes. Halls Gates, it's coming through right now. Ripley, it's coming through right now. Maury City, got probably about 10 minutes till it shows up. About 5 for you folks in Nutbush. Probably about 15 minutes till we get into Brownsville with this storm. Maybe closer to 20 coming through Covington right now. Tabernacle, you got about 5 minutes. Mason, Stanton, about 10 to 15. And then we got a little bit longer till it gets here in Jackson, Huntersville, Woodland, Bells, Trenton, Humboldt, or Medina. Jordan, what are you seeing as far as winds inside that storm?
I've got some samples, and remember, these are not going to be at the surface. These are about 6,000 feet above, but they could very well be mixing down with the way this line is moving so quickly. We could have some of those downdrafts moving pretty quickly. We've got winds. These are just samples. 1 pixel on a couple of different spots in Dyer County clicked and brought back a return of 76 miles per hour. We've got a couple that are also around that 65 range and one at 73. We can check some other portions of the line. Let me pop the warnings back on and just see where I'm gonna head next. We'll take a look over here at the Lauderdale-Haywood County line next. And we'll get a couple samples here. One south of Halls, one to the west of Forked Deer, and then one right along that gust front to the west of Nutbush. Winds are a little lighter off to the south of Dyersburg here, but still 53 is the first one we've seen that's below severe criteria. Remember, severe criteria is 58 miles per hour gust or sustained, but we'll have to wait for that to hit an airport to verify for sure. We're still waiting on returns from the Dyersburg Municipal Airport. The next airport that has a sensor on this line is actually going to be Jackson Regional, McKellar-Sipes, or maybe off to the north, Everett, Stewart, and Union City. If we can get some returns there, we'll give them to you when we get them.
All right, looks like we got a little bit of hail maybe approaching Hornbeak. That's just south of Sandburg. That showed up in the last radar scan. So that's something that we'll be watching. We really haven't had much for hail, but the last 2 radar scans have shown that. So that looks like if it continues to track in the general direction, that could be a problem for Union City. That's something we'll continue to watch. Looks like the storm is less intense south of Dyersburg than it is north of Dyersburg, at least at the current moment. But there is a look at that line that extends from right through Hornbeak right now. Did go through Dyersburg, so if we did get some wind reports out of Dyersburg, maybe they'll show up in the National Weather Service chat. I'm going to check with the chat, and they don't have, they're issuing a severe thunderstorm warning for Harden and McNairy County for 60 mile an hour wind, 1 inch hail. I'm going to show you that storm here in just a minute. So a little bit of rotation 7 minutes ago. That was southeast of Tiptonville heading into Obion County, but not enough to issue a tornado warning. All right, so here's that cell I was talking about where that just got the new severe thunderstorm warning. It's another pocket of hail, which is right around Walnut into northern Mississippi. So we'll pull up our tool on that when it loads here. There we go, and show you that new warning. So that does include Selmer under that warning. Again, they did say that there could be 60 mile an hour wind gusts, but I'm thinking they issued it more for that little lightning core that you see that's showing up there. I'll go ahead and pull up the velocity on it and see if we see much for gusty winds. So getting a little bit of wind signatures trying to show up there. So it looks like that storm might be strengthening a little bit, and that's why they issued the severe thunderstorm warning, but looked more like a hail concern for me. So again, we'll restack this up. Here's our big line, which is now past the Mississippi River as it's moving off to the east pretty quickly. Okay, I think we're going to head back on live TV as well again over the Oscars. So just let me know when we're going on that, and we'll wait for that, all right? Okay, we'll be right. Give us about 5 seconds. All right, we're back tracking storms here in the Storm Team 7 Weather Center. Again, if you want to watch the Oscars, abc.com, download the ABC app, or you can watch it on Hulu as these storms are beginning to move into more of our central core counties that we cover here in West Tennessee with some very strong winds. We've got multiple clusters of thunderstorms. Again, this one that we were watching up to the north, we told you wasn't much. Looks like it's even lost its lightning. So here's the main concern is this one right now from Union City down through Ripley. Will be coming into Gibson County. I think that one's got some pretty intense winds with it. There's a little cell southwest of Jackson, not a severe storm. Handful of lightning strikes. Can't rule out it trying to produce a little bit of hail because down south here we've got a hail maker there near Walnut, which just showed up and it got itself a severe thunderstorm warning. This moving through Harden County right now, a couple of just non-severe thunderstorms near Hornsby. But there's a look at this hail core. It was much more impressive just about 5 minutes ago south of Middleton. But this new severe thunderstorm warning does include Selmer, Stantonville, Mickey, Raymer. If you're watching us from those communities, I think maybe what I'm seeing 40-mile-an-hour winds, but there will be a couple little hail pockets trying to come on by. This is not the main line. This is a storm out in front of it. So here's a little cluster of thunderstorms over through Oakland and Somerville as well. But we're watching all this coming up from the south. We like this stuff coming up from the south. I know we got a severe thunderstorm warning, but the stuff coming up out of the south is nowhere near as intense as the line coming on in from the west. So if this can come through, it may eat up a lot of the storm energy before that big line gets here. It's not going to save you up north, though. I don't think in Gibson County, Weakley County, Henry County, you're probably going to get the main brunt of this line as it comes on by. There is a hail core that did show up in the last couple of scans here. It looks like there's some hail near Hornbeak, just southeast of Sandburg. That is tracking to the northeast, and that's showed up now for a couple different scans. So that's going to be moving to the north. Might be a problem for Union City here in about 10-15 minutes. We'll keep an eye on it. This stuff down south looks a little weaker. I know you still have a severe thunderstorm warning, but it doesn't look as intense. South of Dyersburg is this northern section. I think here's where the strongest winds are. You see a couple little kinks along the line. Not enough for the National Weather Service to issue a tornado warning, but again, that doesn't mean there won't be a quick spin up as it comes through that we might even miss on radar because they can happen that fast and dissipate that fast when you're talking about these tornadoes that develop along a line. It's not like the supercells that we track when you can give yourself a 30-45 minute warning before the storm gets there, and we know exactly where the center of rotation is going with those. So here's that wind line now it's past Covington heading for Tabernacle. Nutbush, that's on the way for you. Brownsville, you probably got about 10 minutes or so until the line gets there. We'll zoom things out. So there's our line. You can see it very well, that wind line. If you're wondering what is the reds we're looking at, when we show you the velocity product, red is winds that are going away from the radar. So we're using the Memphis radar, so it's showing the winds that are going away. Green are winds that are going towards the radar. So you notice where the radar is, where it's coming towards, it's green, but when it's moving away, it's red. So remember, red moving away from the radar, green moving towards the radar. So we've got this big wind line coming into Friendship any minute now, and then it'll be crossing the county line into Gibson County. Looks like that's going to be showing up here in about 5 minutes into Gibson County. You're probably about 10 minutes away to Trenton, maybe 15 to Humboldt. So if you're watching us in Humboldt, Trenton, you got about 10-15 minutes. Again, you don't want to have anybody in your upstairs portions of your house. You want to get people to the lower level of the house as this wind line comes through. Could take down some trees. You just want to be safe. Stay away from the windows when the wind line comes in. I know a lot of you want to watch the storm and you can hear it when it's shaking, but there could be some debris flying around that could take out some windows. So brand new scan approaching Friendship right now. The southern section I'm not as impressed with, but there's still some strong winds that'll be coming into Brownsville. Probably Jackson again around 8:20 or so. Let me get a this one's old. I'll put this on and then we're going to check in with meteorologist Jordan Hubbard here real quick. But here's the latest on the timing. We'll follow our line down. It's moving around 55 miles an hour. So it looks like it'll be coming into Jackson again around 8:24, Huntington around 8:30, and Humboldt here around 8:11. Jordan, what do you got?
So we got some scans from the Dyersburg Airport. Sustained winds at 7:39 were 32 miles per hour with gusts up to 44. So that is below severe limits. Next in line is going to be Everett Stewart Airport. That's on the eastern side of Union City. Right now that's probably about another 5 to 7 minutes away from that airport. But we can give you another sample of some wind speeds that could come into Union City here. Let me turn the warnings off so I can actually click on the wind. Here we go, coming in. And these, again, this is from the Paducah radar, so it's a little bit closer, but still several thousand feet above the surface. Still sampling somewhere in that 65 to 70 mile per hour range. Some pretty intense winds. Now, they may not make it all the way down to the surface, but that still means 40, 45, 50 mile per hour gusts are going to be possible here probably within the next 10 minutes for Union City. Reeves is in that little corner of Obion County there to the south as well. Good news is we're not expecting a whole lot of flooding, and I know that's something Reeves has to deal with pretty frequently. Rainfall rates may be high, but these storms, they're not big, and it's not going to last very long. So flash flooding of any kind is not really going to be a concern. But for our southern storm, again, things starting to pop up along the line. That warning, stays pretty south of Highway 64. Does not look nearly as mean as some of our northern stuff, but we'll keep an eye on some of these airports, see how we're doing on the wind front. We've got our downtown Jackson camera pulled up just in case we need to take a look outside here in the hub city, but back to you, Joel.
Jordan, why don't you go ahead while I'm doing this and pull up the Union City camera, as that storm looks like it's getting awful close to Union City. We might be able to pick up something on that camera. A couple of them little hail storms we were watching, those look like they have weakened some. Again, but look at the lightning counter, folks. 600 lightning strikes here in West Tennessee over the last 10 minutes. This is an explosive line as it's coming on through. I think the worst of it the next hour is probably going to be north of Jackson, because we've got this stuff coming up here from the south, may steal some of the thunder as it comes by. It's not saying we're not going to have some strong storms in Jackson. We definitely are. I just think the atmosphere is a little less messed with when you get north of Madison County. So again, a couple little cells in Henry County. Here's the main concern, though. This one coming into Gibson County, right into Union City, Weakley County. Here's where I think the strongest winds are going to be from Brazil, Union City, which will include, again, Dyer, Milan, possibly areas as south as Humboldt, but definitely Trenton, you're going to get hit with a pretty ugly windstorm. There's a little bit of a notch right there, maybe enough to consider a tornado warning. And then, again, some of these other communities up to the north get hit pretty hard. There's going to be some thunder and lightning in Jackson downtown. There's already some to the south. That's not a severe storm. And none of this stuff coming on up here. It looks like we're, again, losing some radar data. The system's overloaded. But it looks like we've got this coming in from Meaden over through Henderson, extending down south into Hornsby. And I did want to show you the radar down south. I don't know if we've lost it there. Okay. There we go. So there's a little bit of a hail core in Ripley. The hail we were watching earlier, northeast of Walnut, that looks like that's gone away. So the worst part about this storm heading into McNairy County looks like it's going to stay just south of us. All right, none of this is too concerning, this stuff that I'm watching down here in Oakland, Williston, Somerville, but you notice it's kind of cutting out. Here's the main line back there. That's the main line, and it's kind of jumping out in front of it, trying to weaken it some. But here's the main concern, a little bit of a kink there near Mason Hall. Let's take a closer look inside that, though. We had some hail here earlier. Look at this, a little bit of a radar loop. We had that big hail. Looks like that's weakened some down near Troy. A couple of kinks down here in Friendship. I'm trying to get to the velocity product here on the map. All right, here we go. So here's the winds past Troy now, coming into Mason Hall. Yorkville showing up any minute. Dyer, Rutherford, you probably got about 5 to 10 minutes till the gusty wind line does approach your area. And then down south here, it's past Nutbush heading into Maury City and Alamo. Looks like you probably got about 5-10 minutes for you. And Brownsville, you're down to 5-10 minutes now on the wind line, which is going to become racing on through those strong winds coming in out of the southwest or west. You see the line, strong winds all the way from Brownsville up to the north. So there's our main concern for these winds tonight. You can see them very easily on the radar. Just approaching Gibson County right now. Still about 20 minutes away from coming into Jackson. We've got our own little weak storm though here in Jackson, but the main line is still off to the west, about 30 minutes out till it gets into the hub city. Friendship, Dyer, again, Trenton, it's on the way. And it looks like the line really weakens some when you get down here to the south. That's where we've had a couple of them that severe little windstorm near Somerville. But again, here's the latest on the timing. Jackson still looks about 8:24 when it will be coming in your way. Jordan, is the camera doing some shaking up there?
It's doing some shaking. It's also got the night vision turned on, so we're not going to be able to see anything in color for the rest of the night. But this lightning, and not only the wind is rocking. Look at the lightning. This is a pretty intense cell coming over Union City right now. But right now, here's my concern: is we may not get a verifiable wind report because Everett Stewart Regional Airport only sends a report every 20 minutes, and the only time we would get one would be either 7:45, which has already passed, which may have been a little too early, and 8:05 here in about 10 minutes, and I'm worried that may be a little too late. But you can see it right now. It's coming into town now. I mean, that is rocking. That's some pretty intense. I wouldn't be surprised if we lose this camera here shortly with either how much it's rocking. Power outages may become a pretty big problem here across Union City.
Yeah, let's stay on the Union City camera for a minute. We'll watch that for another minute, and I'll have you keep a close eye on it, Jordan. I do want to show you, though, on the radar, once I get it set where we can get a look at the, I'm just going to pull up just so we can get the Memphis radar. I like the colors that it's showing better than Paducah's radar tonight. So, all right, so there's the Memphis radar. You notice we're starting to get, go ahead to 1 if we're not on 1. Are we on 1? Yeah, okay, so here's a look at that range, the system, or the leading edge coming right into Union City right now. So that's the most intense winds you're going to get in Union City from this storm, which is extending down to Reeves, coming through Mason Hall, Yorkville coming through right now. Again, Kenton, Rutherford, Dyer, about 5 minutes. Trenton, you're probably about 10 minutes out. Brazil, 5 minutes. Alamo, 5 minutes. Humboldt, probably got about 10 to 15 minutes before the gusty wind line comes through Humboldt. Brownsville, about 5 minutes out. So I'm going to see if we have any news out of the National Weather Service with this line, but I'll draw the tracker on it, put it all the way out. So Lexington, Parsons, there's kind of a first look at the tracking time for you guys. So nothing out of the National Weather Service for any sort of kinks along that line, which is really good news. But the bad news is there's still some very strong gusty winds that appear to be coming on through. Jordan, what are you finding out?
They've actually downgraded that northern warning to 60 mile per hour winds. So that's a good sign, I guess. Looks like we just lost our Union City camera. I guess that means we've got some power outages coming into Obion County. Well, we're still getting a few frames, but I mean that's a pretty intense storm, and
it's trying to come back.
We've got it. There it is. But it's if you notice, it's not pointed at Wbbj there anymore. I'm not entirely sure what we're looking at, but this is definitely a different angle. I don't know if the owner of this camera turned it. I don't know if the wind turned it, but it is a pretty intense thunderstorm coming into the Obion County region right now. We're probably getting pretty close to the time where it's going to cross over Everett Stewart Regional Airport. We'll get some ground truth over there in the eastern side of Obion County. UT Martin, I don't know if they have a sensor there with the meteorology program, but we'll keep an eye on this as it moves across. But it is a very, very windy scenario over in Obion County right now. We can hop over to radar real quick. We'll take mine with just a little bit. It's got to load for a second. There we go.
All right, go max 2. Okay, thank you.
And then we'll zoom in over here to
Jordan. We got. I hate to do this to you, but it looks like we got a brand new tornado warning getting issued.
You go right ahead, Joel.
For that southern storm. So the one that's got a lot of hail in it that I'm looking at. But brand new tornado warning does include areas just south of Selmer, Raymer, and Mickey. So the details on that tornado warning are that severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado near Ripley moving northeast, tornado in quarter-size hail. According to the National Weather Service, they didn't say anything. They just issued the warning. So we'll look at it ourselves. So again, a tornado warning out until 8:45. So there's definitely a lot of lightning or a lot of hail in there. That's some pretty big hail showing up with that. But again, we've been watching this cell for a while, and let's go ahead and pull up the velocity on it, and we'll show you where it's most likely rotating. So, all right, a couple different radars looking at it. So here's where they think the rotation is with this one. So right there, there's also a secondary area of rotation. So, and these are both moving to the northeast. So let's see, about 15 miles to Mickey. This one about 25 miles to Corinth. So we'll put that in rotation here in just a minute. I want to save a new graphic, so we'll keep watching this. All right. All right. So there's where it looks like if we get any, the areas of rotation will stay south of Selmer. That's why you're not under that warning in Selmer. So here's the two little locations of rotation. You notice they are tracking. Maybe Mickey could be close to that, but there's definitely some strong winds, probably at least 60-mile-an-hour winds, even if there isn't a tornado with that area. And we've got 2 hail pockets as well associated with this. Jordan, if you want to read the safety tips for the folks in southern McNairy County who are now under this tornado warning, and I'll get some more graphics set up.
Yeah, sure thing. Let's go over this, folks. If you are in your car, get to a better structure, maybe a gas station, a department store, somewhere you can get inside, get a roof over your head, a sturdy building, and also you're going to want to watch out for power lines, even if you're not under a tornado warning. That today, we've had a couple of reports of power lines down before the storms even got here. You're not really going to encounter flooded roadways in a system like today, but if you do, always turn around, don't drown. When you're in your shelter, make sure you are inside a sturdy building, not a shed, not a shack, a home, a storm shelter, FEMA rated preferably if you have access to one in your town. Smallest, most central room on the lowest floor of your home. Make sure if you are not on the if you're not in a basement, get away from all windows. And when you are in your safe space, you're going to need batteries for both a flashlight, your NOAA weather radio, maybe even a mobile, you've got a battery for charging your phones that's battery operated. You'll need some water, a first aid kit just in case, and any time-sensitive medications you may need for the next couple hours.
All right, that includes Eastview, Guys, and Stantonville. Savannah, you are currently not under the warning, but if it continues in the same direction, it may be an issue for areas just south of town. Nixon counts. So if you're watching us in Savannah, you need to continue to monitor that storm. We'll get back to that as it looks like the center of rotation is just out of West Tennessee right now. We do want to talk about that northern line real quick. Again, it looks like the worst of it is going to head to the north. We've got a couple little storms now approaching Luray, Henderson, Finger, but we're really not seeing much for rotation in that area. We've got our severe thunderstorm warning heading through Brownsville right now as well. But again, we do have our tornado warning. There's definitely some hail also with this storm. We'll kind of go back a couple of scans. You notice as it's approaching, there could be some small hail south of Selmer, but when we pull back on the rotation, looks like the worst of it's going to stay just south of Selmer. It's going to be close Eastview is probably going to get hit with some strong winds. Again, definitely straight line winds. We could take a couple different looks at it. Again, radar indicated rotation, but to me it's more radar indicated really strong winds. So some of the areas that are going to get Raymer, Eastview, guys, Mickey, you probably should get in your safe spot, as the storm looks like it's about 5 minutes out. Again, even if you don't have a tornado, you're going to get hit with some pretty strong winds, I think, in those communities. So please take shelter if you are in one of them communities I just showed there. Selmer, stay with us. You're not under the warning. If you're concerned at all, Selmer, and I get why, you can head into your shelter. Just in case it turns northward, you're probably looking at about 10 minutes till it gets there. Here's the timing of the winds or possible rotation as they're coming into Raymer, guys. Eastview, Mickey, there you see your timing for that. Again, if that storm, if it continues the same general speed, that's when it's going to come on in. Jordan's going to be keeping a very close eye on that. I don't want to forget about everybody else, so we're going to talk about that here real quick. We've got a little bit of hail still with that northern storm near Union City. Martin got some gusty winds, look like they're on the way for you. Again, this stuff down south through Henderson, Finger, Luray, none of that looks severe, but definitely some loud thunderstorms. We've got our southern severe thunderstorm warning that's out for another 26 minutes, I believe. We've got a couple of little rain pockets here from Silerton over through Hornsby with a few lightning strikes, and then some pretty intense hail with our southern storm. So again, there's a look at our tornado, the severe thunderstorm warning that was out. Then they upgraded it to a tornado warning. Off to the west here, Williston, Somerville, that's where the gusty winds are. And we've got multiple rounds of thunderstorms still coming up from the south. But this one out here, it's got its own environment to work with, and that's why it's trying to rotate. But up north here, there's where we got our little hail core northeast of Union City right now. This storm is moving so fast that if I don't reset the graphics every 5 minutes, it's almost out of the camera view. Dyer, looks like you got the strong winds coming in right now to you. We do want to look at the velocity. There it is. Martin, you got a couple minutes. Sharon, probably about 5 minutes coming through Rutherford. Right now, the worst of it did pass Yorkville. Dyer, you got the strong winds coming through right now. Trenton, you probably got about 5 minutes, and then extending down, coming through Brazil and Alamo right now. Gadsden, Bells, you got about 5 minutes. Humboldt, you're down to around 10 minutes at most till that storm line gets there, but you see that line extending from Union City all the way down near Brownsville. A little bit of a kink there showing up south of Alamo. Jordan, go ahead.
All right, we'll hop over to Max 2. We're going to keep an eye on the Savannah live cam overlooking the Highway 64 bridge. The circulation in question for McNairy County and North Mississippi is going to be on the left side of your screen when it gets into the view of this camera. Right now, it's still just a little too far away to pick up on this camera. Also, it's a little dark, so it's going to be really difficult to see, especially once it gets a little closer. Remember, these linear storms tend to have a lot of rain up front too, so we're going to be looking for as much help as we can from radar to get you the most up-to-date information. But as of right now, we're going to slide over to the storm that is currently tornado warned, and we're going to pop the velocity scan to see what we have going on. It does look like there is a little bit of a hail core popping up just to the northwest of Corinth, Mississippi. That will very, very soon cross into West Tennessee. They're near, I believe, Raymer. Yeah, just south of Raymer is where we'll start to see that. But that rotation is very, very broad. But we'll take a look at the not necessarily storm relative velocity, but the true velocity scan. And there's a much more significant rotation just to the southwest of Collinstown. I'll put a circle on that for you real quick. This one right here, and that is moving about this way. So it would come to the south. It would cross Highway 45 just about right on the state line if it continues on its current path, which would put it just south of Mickey. So if you're in Mickey, go ahead and start taking precautions. This is going, if it persists, remember these are linear storms, so they may not necessarily be long-tracked spin-ups, but it could spin up right on top of you with very little warning. You can even start to see a little bit of a Boeing segment right there to the west of Collinstown as well. Back to you, Joel.
Yeah, no, I was just, my screen was freezing up on me there, Jordan. That's what I was throwing up my
Okay.
hands for. Not that I wanted your attention, but all right. So there's a look at the timing again that Jordan was just talking about. Raymer, it's going to be showing up any minute for you. Mickey around 8:20, Kendrick around 8:24. Jordan's going to have another quick update on that storm here in a minute. I'll talk about it too, but did want to take a look again at the velocity up north. Again, if you're watching us, I guess Hulu is showing our coverage. I thought Hulu was independent of WBBJ, so I apologize about that. I thought you could get ABC's coverage, their base coverage, but you can on abc.com and you can on the ABC app if you want to watch the Oscars and these storms aren't into your area. I know it gets frustrating when you want to watch something, but and we've covered up. We've covered up Tennessee football before too, so we will cover up the Oscars when there is severe weather on the way. And most of our viewing area now is starting to get into the meat and potatoes of this storm. As you see there, moving right into Rutherford and Dyer. Trenton, it is right on the way for you. So this storm is coming through Trenton right now, approaching Humboldt in about 5 minutes. So we should be able to find out here real quick what kind of winds are that we have with some of the people that are watching us in Humboldt. I'm going to try to keep the lightning off with some of these maps to make it a little bit easier to see. Martin, you probably got about 5 minutes. Sharon, about similar time frame. We're past Alamo now with this main wind line. Gadsden, about 5 minutes. Huntersville, about 10 minutes. I think we're still about 15 minutes away in Jackson. So again, standing down here to the south, we'll try to pull off that lightning. Hillville, Meade, and Bolivar in on that. So Jordan, give us the latest on that tornado warning, and then I'll cover it here in a minute.
There is a very noticeable inflow notch just to the north of Collinstown. This is in southwestern Alcorn County, maybe eastern Tippah County. I'm not too familiar with northern Mississippi geography, but that is a pretty noticeable inflow notch that we're going to need to keep an eye on very carefully. Even it's even detectable. I'm not sure what radars I'm bouncing between. It may be Memphis and Columbus Air Force Base, but it is a particularly noticeable inflow notch there. It's now kind of in the middle of the triangle of Brush School, Collinstown, and Koseth. That's just we'll put a ruler on that from the state line, and that is about 10.5 miles. So if it's moving at 55 miles per hour, it gives you 12 or 13 minutes before it's in Tennessee, and probably another 5 or 6 from when it gets into Tennessee before it starts to get towards Mickey and the Harden County line. Joel?
All right, Jordan, let's head back to Max 1, kind of give you a recap here. Here's the situation. Here's our main wind line extending from Martin right now, approaching Madison County, down through Grand Junction. If your county borders the Mississippi River, besides maybe Shelby, your severe storm threat looks like it's moving on out. We have one rotating storm right now. That's this one that we have the tornado warning. This is the storm Jordan was talking about. There's also 2 pockets of hail inside of it. One near Guys, one just to the east of Faulkner, and there's a lot of lightning just with this one storm. So here's a look at the hail coming into Raymer. The main hail will stay just south of Selmer. Probably have hail coming into Eastview, probably Mickey, maybe Stantonville if it continues to track up to the northeast. There's our other hail pocket near Crumtown, just north of Collinstown. That's where Jordan was showing you that little inflow notch, and you can see that right there. That's where a potential tornado could develop. Up here, this looks like straight line winds. If you're watching us in Guys, Mickey, I'm not saying that you shouldn't go to your safe spot because these are at least 60-mile-an-hour winds and there could be a spin up, but there's 2 little pockets of rotation. The worst of it looks like it's going to stay just south of McNairy County, but look at this wind line. This is intense, folks, and we do have a couple of little notches here. The worst of it's going to stay just south of Selmer, but Eastview, Guys, Stantonville, Mickey, in this area, you've got really strong winds coming on in, which will eventually head over to, yeah, you guessed it, Hardin County. Counts, Nixon, going to get in on the act. Savannah, you may be just north of it, but it's going to be real close. So here's a look at the timing. I did put Savannah in this, 8:34. That's a little over 20 minutes if it turns at all up to the north. But Corneth, Mickey, Eastview, you see your timing of when this at least winds up north here. Strong winds, possible rotation down there. We'll check back in with Jordan here in a minute on that. I do want to look up north here. There's a large tornado warning, I believe that is, sitting just north of Martin, but that should stay north of us. We've got 2 non-severe thunderstorms, one near Luray, west of Lexington, another one around Henderson, and we've got a little bit of an inflow notch showing up there south of Somerville. That may be something we need to watch as well. That severe thunderstorm warning is out for another 17 minutes. Bolivar, you got probably about 10 minutes till the main line shows up. Similar numbers for Toon and Meaden. Middleton, you got a little bit longer than that. So again, here's our tornado warned storm. 2 hail pockets, a little bit of rotation as it comes by. North of Moscow, really not doing a whole lot as far as severe weather, but you do got a loud thunderstorm there extending all the way down south of Memphis. I'm trying to get through this quick because I want to get back up here. So let's talk about, there's that new tornado warning, but it's just north of us. Union City, you're seeing the worst of it. Your severe weather threat is over, but we've still got Humboldt on the way for you any minute, coming through Trenton right now, west of Bradford. So here's the wind line. Now just passing through Martin, you're getting some really gusty winds in Martin. Sharon, it's any minute. Dresden, you got about 5 minutes. Palmersville, you got about 10 minutes, as well as Gleason until it gets there. Bradford, the winds are knocking on the door, going to come through any minute. The worst of it just past Trenton, and it's coming into Humboldt right now. In the next couple of minutes, you're going to start to see those winds pick up in Humboldt. Going to come right, we just got a brand new radar scan, some really strong winds there in Humboldt and over through Medina. I'm going to take a closer look at that line section over through Humboldt and Three-Way, Medina, Gaston. Again, this just looks just like straight line winds. Not really seeing much for a kink, but these are probably 50, 60 mile an hour winds that will be gusting along this line, at least 40 to 45 as they come by, probably stronger. They'll be coming into Medina here. It looks like you've got probably about 5 minutes till they're into Medina. So the storm coming right through Humboldt. Right now extending south to Gadsden. Jackson, you're probably about 15 minutes out, maybe 10 minutes out, and then you notice it's not quite as intense when you get down here into Somerville and Whiteville because you had those little storms come by earlier. But here's our main storm line. You can see it extending from Martin between Dyer and Milan right now, coming right through Humboldt, approaching Jackson here in about 10 minutes. And we also got this other little cell coming up from the south here in Jackson. So things are going to get pretty hairy in the city here in about 10 minutes. Jordan, what's the latest on that tornado warning?
So they haven't changed much. In fact, it looks like some of the reflectivity values have started to drop a little bit. The rotation's broadened out. These are all good things. We do have a report actually from Martin, Elm Street, trees down and utility lines down with it. That is on Elm Street. That is, I don't remember where Elm Street is in Martin, but right now we're actually starting to see a second, the northern rotation is actually starting to take over. They're right on top of the state line. Looks a lot meaner than the southern rotation near Collinsville. What I'm talking about here is just to the west of Corinth. We're pretty much right on top of the state line right there. We've got red on green, pretty much right on the state line, and we do not have a live camera for McNairy County right now. The closest I can get is Savannah, but we'll boot it up real quick and see what's going. It may take a few seconds for it to connect, but this is the closest we're going to be able to get to a live view over McNairy County, and there's they actually turned the camera in the right direction. All that lightning, that's the core of the rotation we're looking at, or at least looking toward. Again, it may still be a little too far away to see. You may remember earlier in the week we had that one storm come through that had a pretty scary looking lowering across the Tennessee River on this same camera, almost at the same direction. But this is where it's going to come from. We're going to be relying on some of this lightning to give us a better view here in the next several minutes.
All right, we've also got, I think, some really large hail that just showed up in the last couple of scans. You'll notice that right through Eastview. So there is some really large hail coming through Eastview, at least quarter size. That is coming into Stantonville. If you were in Stantonville or Crump, you might want to get your vehicle inside if you can. I know it's starting to rain now, but you got just a couple minutes to do it before this storm shows up, as there is a significant
That's a new severe thunderstorm warning coming in.
All right, I assume they're probably putting a warning out for Jackson now. Yes, looks like they did. So if you're watching us in Jackson, you are going to be hearing about this severe thunderstorm warning. which is out till 9 o'clock. So there's probably going to be a lot of people jumping in now on us here in Jackson. Jordan's going to get some information on that, but I can't not focus on that hail core that's just now showed up between Selmer and Guys. That is a very large area of hail. Look at all these lightning strikes. This is still a very strong storm just south of Selmer. We've got a little hail core being detected out coming into Stantonville. It's right through Eastview right now, probably at least quarter-size hail right along 45. So there's a look at that hail core. Again, this is our new warning. If you're watching us in Jackson, your phone just went off. Chester, Henderson, Madison County, you're under a severe thunderstorm warning for winds gusting. Jordan, I believe that's what, up to 60 miles an hour?
So 60 miles per hour wind gusts and nickel-sized hail. I actually have a report from a ham radio operator 5 miles east of Dyer at 8:12 recorded a wind gust of 77 miles per hour.
Where was that?
That was 5 miles east of Dyer 6 minutes ago. So
Okay.
that is moving towards Greenfield. That's actually on top of Greenfield, Bradford, Sharon. Right now, Christmasville is probably about 5-10 minutes away from you.
All right, very intense wind. So again, you want to, if you know, if the line's coming through and you're in the upstairs, you need to go downstairs, be in your lowest level of your house and get away from windows, because 70-mile-an-hour winds can kick up some debris and do some significant damage as they come by. Jordan's going to take a quick look at that. I do want to focus again one more time on our tornado-warned storm. Massive hail core south of Selmer in the Guys area. Tons of lightning with this storm, 2 different pockets. We just got a brand new update on this one. We'll get you that coming up too. But right here is that hail core from Eastview heading into Stantonville, probably some really large hail. And here's that general hail path that it has taken. So that's why I'm saying if you're in Stantonville or Crump, you may want to, if you can, to get your vehicle in, because you're probably going to get hit some pretty big hail. There's another section of hail south into northern Mississippi, and there are multiple pockets of rotation with this. One right along the border of Tennessee and Mississippi, and another one a little bit further south. Now, this looks like just really strong winds to me coming into Stantonville, but if you're uncomfortable, you may want to head to your safe spot too. That is really strong winds, maybe a little bit of rotation. Definitely more concerned with this area just south of Guys heading into Mickey, but that is, again, you see these kinks along the line. There could be tornadoes trying to develop here. So probably want to head to your safe spot if you're in Stantonville if you had time to get the car in. Mickey, it's on the way. It's probably too late for you to do much. You've got some really strong winds. Head to your safe spot. In Mickey, you're under a tornado warning. And eventually this is going to come into Savannah. So we're going to be watching our Savannah cam here pretty closely as well. So let's get back up here. Here's where we had those really intense winds that did come by. And it looks like that's a huge brand new severe thunderstorm warning. I'm going to step off and highlight that for you. Here is a look at that massive severe thunderstorm warning, which this is probably the biggest severe thunderstorm warning I've ever seen. There it is, out until 9:15. You notice that does include everyone in this. Everyone in Henry County, everyone left into Weakley County, everyone in Carroll County. So pretty much all of West Tennessee in our viewing area is under a severe thunderstorm warning right now, and that looks like maybe even some hail trying to show up with that storm south of Huntington. Jordan, do I need to get to you for anything real quick, or can I keep going?
I've got a few reports. We've got in Alamo 704 customers without power, and according to Gibson County Emergency Management, big electric outage in Dyer, and 822 customers without power in the community of Dyer. That's where we got that 77 mile per hour gust, and also in Kenton, several power outages. The latest update on that tornado warning, they just trimmed one of the Mississippi counties out of it, but every single severe thunderstorm warning in our area right now is both 60, maybe 70 mile per hour winds and tornado possible tags. So these kinks, they spin up quickly. We may not see it, the Weather Service may not see it. We could probably want to treat all these warnings like tornado warnings if possible.
All right, let's get back to the wind line up north. There's, again, a quick look at the tornado warning. Still, again, it looks just like a lot of wind coming into Stantonville, but there could be a tornado there. You see this little area of rotation right there? I'll try to get that going for you. System's chugging along. And another one here. So each one of those areas, possibility of tornadoes. So that's what we look for, these little kinks with the greens and the reds. So Savannah, we'll see. We're going to find out in the next minute or two, I think, if they're going to put you under a tornado warning. I'm leaning towards they probably will. So heads up on that for Savannah. Keep it here with us. We will let you know when they do. We should be finding out here.
They are reissuing the downstream tornado warning for the McNairy County storm. They do have a chaser reported funnel cloud.
All right, so we got a funnel cloud. Savannah, you're about to be put under a tornado warning with this storm. Again, it's kind of in between little radars. I think this is probably our best look at it. So that should pop up here any minute. Once that does, we'll get back to you. Jordan's going to have the information on that. I do want to check again with what's happening up north here, because you said we had a 70-some mile-an-hour gust that came through Dyer. There's a look at that as it came through, right through Dyer, through Bradford, Tresvent, McKinsey, Huntington. You're about to be under that as well. There's also a hail core that just showed up. Well, we'll see if I can get the radar to load. The system's a little overloaded right now. So all right, so it looks like there is a small little hail core which tried to show up near Huntington, but as fast as it showed up, you see there through Clarksburg, south of Huntington, heading into Brewston. You probably have some hail on the way to Brewston. So as the National Weather Service is drawing up that new tornado warning, we'll get it to you here in a minute. That is our ugliest storm right now, heading right into Savannah. That's out along the leading edge of the front. Remember, we've been talking about it all night. The ones out in front of the leading edge had the chance to be those supercells that could rotate. Along the line itself, that's where we're looking at more of those straight line winds. But there is a massive hail core southeast of Savannah. That storm could even be strengthening as it's heading into Savannah. If you're watching us right now, get your car in the garage in Savannah, get your family, and you probably want to head to the safe spot as that storm does come on by. So there's a look at the hail that's associated with it, tons of lightning, and several different pockets of hail, one through Stantonville, probably going to get you in Crump as well. Savannah, Nixon, here's been where the hail has been showed up on our Doppler radar, just south of Selmer. Down south here, there's an area of rotation into Mississippi. So this is and there's another one right here in and around Mickey. So this is definitely a ugly looking storm with a possible spin up near Mickey. Another possible spin up, or that which could be heading into Nixon here within about the next 5 minutes. And so it looks like even without the rotation, there's very strong winds, but there's multiple little areas inside that mini supercell trying to spin up. All right, up north here, we've got our gusty winds heading through Palmersville, Gleason, Bradford, Milan right now. Huge severe thunderstorm warning. That's out till 9:15, includes 30% of West Tennessee. Down south here, Lexington, I'm not sure you're under that warning yet that came through. It might be. Again, these warnings are so big. Southeast of Huntington, there's a mini hail core for you. That's going to be tracking over near Brewston. A lot of rain, a little bit of lightning. Jackson, the storm system's getting real close, but it doesn't look too bad what's coming into Madison County. Okay, fingers crossed on that. But it doesn't really look too bad. Did they just go severe thunderstorm warning there for Savannah and not a tornado warning?
It looks like that's what they did, but it's centered right around that rotation, so I'm assuming, yeah, that's what they did. They gave it a tornado possible tag.
I guess that's great news, since you said they had a spotter on it, so I guess there's a spotter watching the funnel cloud, and if the spotter sees the funnel cloud touch down, I guess they'll give a tornado warning on it. Jordan's going to have another quick look at that here in a second. I do want to talk about what's happening, though, with this area between Williston, Hickory Valley. A lot of rain and lightning extending all the way down into North Mississippi. I hear the rain coming down right now here at Wbbj. Again, a little bit of hail core south of Huntington. This is some pretty intense winds coming into McKinsey, Tresvent, but as I told you about 30 minutes ago, I thought this northern area is where the worst of the straight line winds were going to be, and we had a report over 70 miles an hour that did come through Dyer. Looks pretty quiet, though, currently in Dyer. All right, hopefully we can get this wind. All right, here's the wind line. Lining up, going through Palmersville right now. Gleason, any minute, it's going to be coming through for you. That's the worst of it. Extending down through Atwood, came through Huntington, and oh, there we go. Right now, here it comes into Jackson. So we're going to sit on this for a minute And so there's the intense line right now, lining up here in Jackson. We could take a couple different velocity looks at it as it's coming by. I mean, I could zoom in and tell you, every little individual town, but it just doesn't make much sense since everyone's going to pretty much get the same thing, which to me looks like 40, 50 mile an hour gusts. Can't rule out a 60 mile an hour gust. And yes, Lexington, we talked about it a minute ago. Looks like they did include you just in the outer edge of that severe thunderstorm warning. So you're also under a severe thunderstorm warning in Lexington. But we're about to find out here, Jordan, how strong these winds are that are going to come by. Jordan, do you have some graphics on that, what's left of that tornado warning that you want to talk about?
I'll pull it up in a second. I'm going to look at Jackson Regional, see how the wind gusts are coming into town right now. Latest report 5 minutes ago gusted up to 38, so not quite severe yet. But we are going to slide back over to radar and give you another look at that tornado warned storm over in McNairy County. It did, the area of rotation did cross into West Tennessee. So we'll start to take a look at this. I'm going to have to set it to C1 radar only, whichever one's closest. But we'll pop on the velocity, and well, it's come down quite a bit. There's a look. This view right here is from Columbus Air Force Base. We'll slide it up just a little bit, and that's what Memphis is seeing right now. Columbus looks a lot meaner. The rotation lines up, but Memphis just looks a little more scattered. I think they're shooting a little higher into the sky than Columbus is. But that area I have circled right to the south of Mickey, that is the area we'd be concerned for a brief spin up. We did have a spotter report a funnel cloud near Koseth, and that's in Alcorn County, Mississippi. But as of right now, we haven't seen anything in a second. We've got some stuff coming into Jackson real quick. Our downtown camera starting to shake just a little bit, but we'll wait for just a little bit longer, see if anything changes over at the airport to see how intense these winds are going to be here in the southern half of that original line. But right now, I'm not too worried. I'm more concerned about the fact that we have a tornado warning in our, but I mean, you can see it on reflectivity. It just does not look like it did 15 minutes ago over back when it was in Alcorn County. Had a noticeable inflow notch, definite rotation. Now it looks more like what we would call a bookend vortex, which is where a brief spin up would occur rather than an inflow notch like we would see in a supercell, where that could produce a little something a little stronger and a little longer lasting. Joel.
All right, so the worst of that line coming right through Jackson right now. So this is about as bad as it's going to get. So I think we're going to avoid anything too bad. All that storm that came by earlier, I think, really helped cut down on our intensity here in Jackson as it came through. So here's a look at the line right now, extending from Palmersville over through Cottage Grove, down through Gleason. Looks like Tresvant, Atwood, McLemoresville, just east of Milan. Looks like Cedar Grove, Medina. It looks like it's pretty gusty coming through. Humboldt, you've seen the worst of it come by, so it looks like you avoided anything too bad. Meaden, Pinson, looks like you've got still with the wind line to come by. And we're right on top of that wind line here, and it didn't sound too rough as it came by here in Jackson. So that's some pretty good news. So as the storm line continues to come through, this is our worst looking storm right now. Definitely look, there's just tons of lightning with this cell. The rotation, it's pretty broad, but there's a large area where it is rotating from Stantonville down through Mickey, heading over into this area. Looks like it is going to stay the main rotation and winds just south of Savannah. I know you're under the severe thunderstorm warning in Savannah. But Nixon counts, you're going to take a pretty nasty hit from this as it comes through. That's on the wind side. Now, there was a bunch of hail earlier. I'm going to see if that is still showing up on that hail core here in just a minute. Go ahead and pull that up and see if it's still a lot of hail coming on down. Give me a minute. The system's definitely running on overdrive tonight. So, should be popping up here any minute, hopefully. So, all right, there we have it. So there's the hail, still showing up between Mickey and Stantonville, approaching 22 right now. Looks like the hail is going to stay just south of Crump and Savannah, but it is going to be coming into Nixon and Counts. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Savannah cam. Jordan, what are you seeing on that cam, and are you hearing anything from the National Weather Service?
A lot of lightning with this. I'm waiting to see what we've got coming in from Fayette, Hardeman, McNairy County EMAs, just to see what we can expect to see here coming into Hardin County and Savannah. I do also have the ASOS data pulled up for the Savannah Hardin County Airport. They take a scan roughly every 25 minutes. But we are looking at the latest scan was around 9-mile-per-hour winds, 16-mile-per-hour gusts. So, and it's not actually in Savannah. It's a little to the southeast of town, closer to Maddox and Walkertown than it is actually Savannah proper. But right now, they're panning the camera a little to the east there. But it is right now, it's a little grainy, and that's because the camera is coated with rainwater right now. And we're gonna keep an eye on this. Of course, there's still that area of pretty intense winds. There again should miss Savannah to the south, but you may see some pretty intense stuff even in the city of Savannah. But Nixon and points south may need to stay a little more weather aware coming up in these next few minutes.
Yeah, it looks like the storm is just finally moving out of the tornado warning zone that we were watching there, but definitely still some large hail with that storm. So again, we'll rack it up here to the top on Max 1. Here's what we're watching. If you're watching us in Gibson County, Crockett County, Haywood County, you've seen the worst of it tonight, but still pretty intense storms still along the leading edge of the line. Here's our severe thunderstorm warning that does include us here in Jackson until 9 o'clock. I think we just saw the worst of it come through Jackson, so pretty good news there. So here's our hail core. It looks like it's beginning to fall apart a little bit as it tracks just south of Savannah and Counts, but look at all the lightning just with this one storm. And then inside of it, there still might be some hail along 22 between Mickey and Crump. Probably going to head into the Nixon area. If you're a couple miles south of Savannah, you may get in on that hail act, and then it may move into Walkertown, Maddox, Nixon, again, a couple other places we need to watch. So here's our Doppler radar where it picked up some of them hail swaths, the one that did go right into the Mickey area. And if you follow it, it's probably coming into Nixon. Another one down south there into Mississippi, but still some very strong winds and broad rotation. But I bet you these are probably going to be close to 60 coming into Nixon and Counts. The worst of it probably stays just south of Savannah, but I'm going to show you another radar view here in a minute. You've seen the worst of it in Mickey and Stantonville. But you notice those bright colors, though, definitely still as far north as Savannah. But the worst of it's where you see those reds and greens coming through there. Big swath of some pretty intense, I think, straight line winds going to come through there. But Nixon Counts, you probably, if you don't want to go to your safe spot, just at least stay away from your windows as this wind line comes on in, and make sure you're downstairs. So up north, we've got maybe some hail cores beginning to develop, moving over into Henry County, extending south from Gleason and McKenzie. So a lot of intense hail there. We've got another little cell south of Springville. Look at the size of this severe thunderstorm warning. It includes all of Carroll County, all of Henry County. Looks like all of Benton County is under that northern warning. And Lexington, it looks like you just got a little bit of isolated lightning coming on through for you right now. Huntington, things have quieted down. I think you saw the worst of it pass by. But there is still some heavy rain, it looks like, behind you in Huntington. So still some thunderstorm activity down into Hardeman and it looks like Fayette County. But right now I'm not seeing anything severe along that line, but there is still a chance for some 60+ mile-an-hour winds. You're still under the threat in Henderson. You haven't seen the worst of it come by yet tonight. There's again back down to our southern storm. It looks like the hail core on that's beginning to fall apart a little bit. But you've got some gusty winds coming into Toon, Bolivar, Hickory Valley, Grand Junction right now. Hornsby, Middleton, got about 10 minutes until the worst of the winds comes into your area, and then extending all the way down south even into northern Mississippi. So this one's got my attention. I'm going to go ahead and take a quick look at this hail core here that we are watching, and then we'll check back on the Savannah situation. But I'm going to.
Well, I've actually got good news
ahead,
on that
Jordan.
front, Joel. They actually canceled the tornado warning. I guess the rotation has become more of a straight line wind thing there to the south of Savannah, and they're panning the camera back to its original position, looking over the Highway 64 bridge. Visibility is not great, to say the very least, but they just also trimmed Gibson County out of their severe thunderstorm warning. That severe thunderstorm warning is still tagged for 3/4-inch hail, 70-mile-per-hour winds, and that one's going to go until 9:15.
All right, back to Max 1. Looks like things are quieted down here in Jackson. I think we saw the worst of the winds. Here is a look at where the winds are going right now over through, it looks like, Cottage Grove right now. Paris, about 10 minutes. The strongest winds from this system are going to be coming on through for you, extending down into McKinsey, McLemoresville, heading over into Huntington. Looks like in the next few minutes. This is what we're looking at here in Jackson. That kind of hard to really see what's in there. Kind of zoomed in a little too far, but you notice the wind line right there from Cedar Grove, extending now to the southeast of Jackson. So here's where the wind line is. Kind of see it here heading over into Clarksburg, Wildersville, Lexington. You probably got about 15 minutes, I think, till this wind line comes by. Down south here, we've still got some heavy rain, but no tornado warnings right now, just some gusty winds on the way. The guys in the back, are we going to stay on TV or cover up the Oscars as well as our live feed still, or are we going to just be live on our online platforms now since the tornado warning's over? If someone can let me know. So again, severe thunderstorm warnings continuing from Jackson over through Pinson. Still got some strong winds on the way, and you can see that line very well heading into Paris, down through McKinsey, Huntington. It's coming through for you here in about the next 5 minutes, extending down through Cedar Grove, just to the east of Jackson, and down into the Meaden area. All right, so we are going to stay on again. If you want to watch the Oscars, abc.com, or download the ABC app. You should be able to watch the Oscars that way. Looks like we're going to stay on for a little bit until the system crosses the Tennessee River, moves out of our viewing area. All right, so some strong winds beginning to approach the Paris area, north of Henry. Down south here in and around, things have really quieted down in and around Shelby County. Do you want to check back in with Jordan? How's that Savannah cam looking?
It's wind is not too crazy yet, but lightning is so intense. Actually, I have some reports from North Mississippi. That would be the storm moving into Savannah now. There have been a few brush fires started from cloud to ground lightning strikes over North Mississippi. We just got a message to the Storm Team Weather Facebook page that power is out in Friendship. That's in Crockett County. Other than that, it looks like we're starting to see some trimmings from warnings. They did update the tornado watch. It dropped Missouri and Arkansas out, but all of West Tennessee still remains under a tornado watch, at least for now. We'll start to see some counties drop from that probably within the next hour. Tornado warning coming for Harden County.
All right, so they've decided to issue the tornado warning, so I guess we would have bumped right back in anyway and gone over the Oscars again. So I thought they should have probably issued that tornado warning, but it doesn't look any different to me than it did 5 minutes ago or 10 minutes ago, so it's the same storm. Did they say why they decided? Did somebody see something? By the way, Savannah, it looks like it's just south of you. That polygon kind of cuts right through town, but the main rotation I think is right here. So here's the rotation with that coming into Nixon and Counts, and so coming into this general direction.
Rotation, they're tagging it for the rotation just southwest of Pickwick Dam. That's going to be just to the south of Counts.
Okay, so there's a couple different areas of rotation. So I guess that's kind of what they're looking at there. Maybe the one in Damon Kendrick looks a little bit more rotation there. But again, if you're Savannah, you're probably okay. If you're concerned at all, head to your safe spot. But there's multiple different areas of rotation. There's a little area there, area in counts. So trying to circle it there, and another one. So there's 3 different areas of rotation that are tracking to the east tonight. So if you're watching us in Bruton Branch, Pollard's Mill, maybe, but definitely Lowryville, Big Ivy, Maddox, you need to be in your safe spot. But that new little spin-up area, see that one south of Savannah, Jordan, that just showed up?
Yeah,
in the
it
last
just showed up in the
scans?
last couple scans between Savannah and Nixon along
Yeah.
Highway 128.
And that showed up after they issued the tornado warning. So that looks a little bit more concerning. So if you're in Maddox, hopefully you're already in your safe spot. Walkertown here, this looks like a possible little spin up there since we've seen the green. So we're going to stick on this one until we get another radar scan here coming on in. But it looks like the rotation's right along 128 south of Savannah, heading into Maddox. So again, this doesn't jump out and immediately say there's a tornado on the ground, but I'm telling you, with these type of events, you can have a tornado show up even between radar scans. So they happen real quickly. That's why we call them spin-ups. They spin up and spin down, and often they can be missed because you're getting a radar image every couple of minutes. You're not getting one every second. We quite don't have that technology yet, but it will be, again, heading here south of Savannah. If you're in Savannah itself, I think you're okay, unless somehow this area of rotation jumps north of Walkertown, but it appears to be just to the south over there near Maddox. I might be able to get a couple different looks at this actually from some other radars while we're waiting to get our next scan out of Memphis. So, but kind of zoom that out. We'll see if we can. We're so far away from the other radars. It would be nice if we could get another radar close to Harden County. Yeah, our Camden radar won't quite make it that far. So we're here at the with the Memphis radar only. Go back a couple of scans. Again, a little area there between Savannah and Nixon, and then down through Counts is definitely worth watching. Anything out of the National Weather Service, Jordan, on that?
Nothing other than the initial message saying they issued it for the rotation
All right.
near Pickwick Dam.
Hey, we just got that new scan there. As you see, this is not near Pickwick Dam, but this looks like a little bit more of a concern to me in the Maddox area. So if you're east of Maddox, you probably need to head to your safe spot. It's not a big area of rotation, but it looks like something like we've seen before in these storms that comes on through. Now the Pickwick Dam area is down here, I believe, near Counts, and it looks like there could be some rotation there heading into Bruton Branch. So there's 2 different areas of, you see the river there, right there near Counts. There was so that could also be a little area of concern. You see where the greens and the blues are showing up, heading into Bruton Branch, Lowryville, Big Ivy. You probably should be in your safe spot till this storm passes by as it tracks off to the east. Pollard's Mill, you're going to be real close. Probably stays just north of you, but if you live along 69 heading southeast to Savannah, you've got some pretty ugly storms on the way here for the next 15 to 20 minutes as they're coming on through. So safe spot if you're inside that polygon into Harden County. There's no confirmation of a tornado, but 2 very obvious areas of rotation. There's this one and then this one up here near Maddox. So those are the ones that we're watching. I don't know if too many communities are going to come up if I draw a tracker on it, but we'll give it a go for both of those areas. So here's the storm. As we move it up to the northeast, kind of give you an idea. So yeah, there's not a lot of towns that are showing up in there, but Austin, Lowryville, Bruton Branch, Big Ivy, and Gillespie Mills. Jordan, what are you looking at?
We just got a message from the Weather Service. It's saying the environment still remains conducive for damaging winds along and just ahead of the line of storms over West Tennessee. And we're starting to see some the cloud bases come down and low-level shear increase over northeast Mississippi, which may allow some more development here over the next couple hours.
Okay, so and that may lead to more of a tornado threat or a hail threat in that area more than the straight line winds, Jordan?
Right. That would increase the tornado risk, do a couple of other things. It also maybe introduce a second round of some possible supercells. Those may not make it all the way north to West Tennessee, but they could very well south of I-22. If you know somebody in that area, could probably use the heads up.
All right, back to Max 1. This is the area of most concern currently in our viewing area. This is where we have the tornado warning and some really strong winds coming in. Good news, there's not a lot of big towns in that area, but Lowryville, Big Ivy, Martins Mill, Lutz, this could be heading your way. So that's definitely a concern. Inside that one, there's a couple different pockets of rotation. The one south of Savannah that we're watching near Maddox, and then the other one down near Brunton Branch. So pretty quiet currently in McNairy County, but I still think you got some strong winds coming in to McNairy County. You kind of see those that are approaching the Hornsby area. We'll try to get a couple other looks at that northern line here that we've also been watching. So lot of lightning still, and some hail cores, it looks like, up into northern Henry County. Paris, it looks like maybe some small hail. That looks like some very heavy rain coming on for you. Your severe thunderstorm warning out till 9:15. We've got a little thunderstorm west of Parsons as well that we are keeping an eye on. And Huntington looks like heavy rain currently coming in for you. And just some more rain showers moving through Madison County. We'll go ahead and check out that wind line that we've been watching. I'm going to get rid of some of these graphics I have. Give me a minute. I'm starting to, maybe I can help out my system here. Jordan, go ahead and take over for a minute, and then I'll get back to the wind line.
Just a few minutes ago, got a text to our weather chat again that we are seeing some hail in Big Sandy. That's northern Benton County. Just to the north of town there, this is the scan before the current scan. We definitely have a bit of a core going up there right on the Benton-Henry County line, just to the east of Springville. I can actually take a slice of that and see how tall that storm is. I actually should probably do that with our Camden radar since we're in Benton County. So give me just a moment. I've got to switch it back over. There you see our storm energy starting to drop, especially west of Jackson. We're also behind this system. We're going to see temperatures crash. Remember, we're under a freeze warning too. So we're going to go from almost 80 degrees to fighting to stay in the 30s over the next few hours. It's going to be a very cold start tomorrow, but let's get you that look at the Camden radar and see if we can slice that storm here over Big Sandy. Now the hail core is not showing up nearly as well in Camden, but we can still give you a look at how tall this storm is. But that was right about where that was. It turns out our Camden radar may not be able to do that, or it was a bad radar scan. But we'll pop it back over to, actually, Fort Campbell's probably the closest to this. And we'll scan it that way. And there we go. Some of the heavier precipitation being lofted to about 20,000 feet. That doesn't scream hail return to me, but these storms, they're tall actually. Some of these rain returns are going all the way up to 50,000 feet. So there are definitely some towering storms tonight, Joel. But it doesn't look like I'm seeing much of that hail return like I was expecting to.
All right, here's what we're looking at. Kind of take a wide view at things again. If you're hoping to catch the last hour of the Oscars or whatnot, you can go to abc.com or download the ABC app and watch them that way if you have access to the internet. So if you can send us messages online, you should be able to watch, I believe, on abc.com. But not a guarantee, but you should be able to. So here's a look at our line of thunderstorms racing east of Jackson now. There's that hail core up to the north. We'll get back to that here in a minute. Severe thunderstorm warning till 9. That's another 9 minutes. We'll see 8 minutes. We'll see what they do here in Jackson. Here's our tornado warning. Still looks like some hail mixing on in with that. But the hail core is really kind of diminished a little bit. But it was pretty intense as it went through Stantonville. So you probably got some hail, though, at least coming into the Savannah area. Let's take a look at the rotation. So there it is. There's where there could be a possible tornado. Definitely some very strong winds. And there's another little area of rotation here between Nixon and Counts, but it's this northern one to me that looks the ugliest there as it's moving now close to the Harden County line, but also still some area of rotation in and around Counts if you're watching us there. Here's some straight line winds, which is coming through into the Hornsby area, approaching Henderson currently. There's our hail core that Jordan was talking about. Some very large hail north of Paris, it looks like, still coming down. Huntington's pretty quiet for you. The northern severe thunderstorm warning, that's out till 9:15 tonight. Parsons, it looks like you just got some heavy rain and a handful of lightning strikes for you in Decaturville. Huntington, I think your severe weather threat looks like it's pretty much wrapping up for you. And then down south in Jackson, we've seen the worst of it come by, just a handful of lightning strikes. The reason this didn't get too bad into Madison County, Humboldt southward, is because we had those little cells out in front, and I think that helped eat up some of the storm energy. We didn't get those down into Hardin County, and we didn't get those up into Henry County. So that's why those are the two pockets of the strongest storms that we're dealing with right now. But look at all the lightning strikes, about 500 lightning strikes over the last 10 minutes. Between Savannah and Counts, there's our tornado warning. Again, this stuff all looks non-severe to me, but there is a severe thunderstorm warning still out. So you're still having some gusty winds, though, some heavy rain and lightning. Down south into Mississippi, some of this may try to strengthen a little bit, according to the Storm Prediction Center, in the next couple of hours as it tracks up to the northeast. So we may not quite be done at 10 p.m. in Selmer, maybe closer to 11 p.m. For Selmer and Savannah when your storm threat's done. But again, very large hail up to the north. Jordan, are you seeing anything I'm missing with that tornado warning storm?
No, it looks like it's actually starting to bow out, which would remove most of the tornado threat and make it more of a straight line wind threat. And we can give you, whoa, look at these wind returns. Yeah. Let's turn off warnings for just a moment. We'll give you some of these wind pixels. This is going to be south of Savannah, but still, these mix down to the surface. That is going to cause some problems. And we've got several thousand people across West Tennessee already without power. Whether it be straight line winds, tornadoes, we won't know for sure until tomorrow. But most likely it's going to be straight line winds because most of these came in as this line was coming through. But we're also getting a new severe thunderstorm warning here within the next few minutes. It's going to be downstream of the Madison County warning. So this is going to include Lexington, probably all the way to the Tennessee River, if I had to guess how they were going to do this. So I'll let you know when that happens. It hasn't popped yet in the Weather Service system, so we'll see it when we get it. But not seeing a whole lot of rotation there in Hardin County, but I am seeing some pretty gnarly wind signatures.
Yeah, very strong winds there. You can see it very clearly on Max 1 with those winds going through. So the new severe thunderstorm warning is probably going to be issued down here. I'm guessing that it's going to be in this area is probably what's going to get issued over here, and then down here. So this is probably where the new warning is going to come in. So it will be right over, probably include you, Savannah, with a different severe thunderstorm warning for the main line that's coming by. As you notice, they did already issue one up here. That's from the National Weather Service out of Nashville. That's their first severe thunderstorm warning of the night. We've also got the warning out still for Camden. That's out till 9:15 on that one. And the warning for Jackson is set to expire here in 4 minutes. But as I said, look like they're going to issue a new warning that is going to be in this general area. So Parsons, Sardis, and a second warning, it looks like probably coming in for you in Savannah. All right, here's a look at what's left. I think the severe threat is done in Jackson. Again, if the storm's passed and you want to watch the Oscars, if you have access to the internet, I think you can go to abc.com or you can download the ABC app. All right, so here's a look at the storm line. We've seen the worst of it pass us in Jackson, but still a tornado warning tonight down into eastern Hardin County. This should expire here. We should get a new one out along the leading edge of it here any minute. Very large hail, I think, came down between Savannah and Counts earlier, did go right through the Nixon area, maybe got some hail in South Savannah as well, but looks like the hail core has begun to kind of fall apart a little bit. But here's where our Doppler radar thought there was hail. I'm not sure about the Savannah stuff. There might have been, but there definitely was between Stantonville and Mickey a lot of hail that did come on by. And then there's our rotation still what's left. There's a couple different pockets of rotation out on the leading edge of this storm. None of them scream tornado on the ground to me, but again, rotation still between Nixon and Counts. You guys have been getting hit there, it seems like, for the last 20 minutes. And then another little area of rotation. If you're watching us in Savannah, I don't see a tornado threat coming in into town for you right now. But areas east of Nixon Counts still under that warning. So here's the wind line approaching Hornsby, Henderson right now. You've got another round of some gusty winds coming into Selmer. We haven't had any reports of anything too bad along this southern line, but still can't rule out a couple of winds, maybe up to 50, 60 miles an hour. Large hail continues tonight over into eastern Henry County, down into Springville, extending south into Brewston. You've seen the worst of it in Paris and Puryear, as well as Palmersville's Gleason. I think your severe thunderstorm threat is done, but you notice there is still a severe thunderstorm warning for areas to the east of you tonight as that line comes by. Some scattered thunderstorms, maybe some 40-mile-an-hour winds hanging around the Parsons area right now. Again, Huntington, I keep showing you this. I think you're pretty much done. All right, so it sounds like there is that new warning. We'll go ahead and show it to you and see where it is. But again, I'm assuming it was down south. So, all right, so there's our new warning. We'll draw it on for you. So there's the new warning. It includes Chester, Hardeman, Henderson, and McNairy counties. That's out until 9:45. So that's our new severe thunderstorm warning that replaces the old one. Jordan, what's the verbiage on that?
Good news is that leading stuff did, in fact, weaken the southern portion of this line. This is tagged for nickel-sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. So that's a downtrend from what we saw about an hour ago with the northern section of this line. I've got our Lexington camera pulled up just right before it gets into town here. We'll see what we can get. I don't know that we have an airport in Lexington that can give us ground truth with any sort of telemetry data, but we'll keep an eye and see what we see with the camera, and we'll tell you what we see.
All right, another quick look here at our tornado-warned storm in Harden County. Again, that's why we're live right now with tornado warnings in our viewing area. So there's a look at some of the smaller communities that still could be impacted. I know when you look at that, you say, oh, that really doesn't tell me a whole lot, right? Well, that's why we look inside the wind product, which is the velocity, shows a speed inside the storm, which was pretty intense there for a while. I think you've finally seen the worst of it in Nixon and Counts, but there's still some areas of rotation. Again, tough to tell. It looks just like a lot of straight line winds coming in to Maddox, Lowryville, Big Ivy, and maybe over to Lutz. That there's maybe the most rotation is right there between Big Ivy and Martin's Mill. So, but that's again crossing the county line. Kind of go back a couple of scans on that. So looks like some pretty intense winds though, regardless, for that area. All right, there's our hail core still sitting here tonight. It looks a lot better using the Memphis radar. Let's go ahead and pull up our Camden radar on that and see what it's picking up. It looks like it's showing the hail way down to the south, so I don't know if it's getting some interference or whatnot up north, but it's not getting any of that stuff up north, so not getting any more information from that one. So here's a look at our, again, severe thunderstorm warning till 9:15. Up north here, east of Paris. Down to the southeast, north of Decaturville. Jordan, if you want to get some graphics set up, and we'll let you come here and man the wall here in about 5-10 minutes, okay, bud?
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, so we've got some thunderstorm activity over into Madison County, Henderson County, as well as Henderson itself. And then, again, our new severe thunderstorm warning is this one. I don't really see a lot of lightning. It looks like it's weakening as it's approaching Selmer. But we still got that intense storm, still that tornado warning there southeast of Savannah. But if you're in this area, if you're Gibson County, Crockett County, Haywood County, your severe storm threat's over. And I think even here in Jackson. So everything's going to be east of Jackson for the next couple of hours. Maybe even the next hour and a half. Probably looking about 10:30, I think is going to be a wrap-up time for us. And again, if you were hoping to watch the Oscars, unfortunately, you may have to catch a replay. If you can't, go to abc.com or download the ABC app. So here's a look at the thunderstorms from Middleton, Hornsby over through Henderson. This line down south still pushing through northern Mississippi. And then there's a look at the intense thunderstorm moving into Harden County. Up north here, that's the wind line. It's finally moving east of the Tennessee River. So you've seen the worst of the winds into Paris and Puryear, but you got some pretty large hail there into northern Henry County. I'm in a chat group up there. I'll check it here in a minute. I'm sure that if there's photos of hail, they'll have them for me. Huntington, I think you've pretty much seen the worst of it as well. You notice the new warning is east of you. Lexington, you still got some gusty winds. You're put under that severe thunderstorm warning. I can't pinpoint anywhere along that line, though, where I see 60-mile-an-hour winds anymore. But there is some wind line approaching Selmer, Bethel Springs, Fenger, and then it looks up into Henderson as well. So the only one that jumps out, you know, the bright colors, that's that one. The rest of this looks pretty bland, although there are still some severe thunderstorm warnings, and there still may be a couple of pockets of some strong winds gusting. I'm not seeing any kinks along the line anymore, and the line itself looks like it's beginning to fall apart. But there was the line. You can see it really well on the velocity. See where the reds and the yellows go up there? It's coming into Camden right now. So the strongest winds from this storm coming into Camden and Holiday and Lexington. You're probably getting the worst of it, but to me it looks like 30, maybe 35-mile-an-hour gusts, worst case scenario for you from what I'm seeing on the radar. And then moving right through Henderson in the last few minutes as well. Kind of back off here. We'll go down south, and let's see. We can kind of extend that line. So you see there down through Camden, Holiday, Lexington, Henderson, Middleton. So you can't pick it up as well down south. It's just not as well organized, but there's the line, the gusty wind line coming up here. So east of Lexington, down through Henderson, east of Hornsby and Middleton. So if you're watching us in McNairy County, Scotts Hill, Morris Chapel, and even into looks like Hardin County, you still got another round of thunderstorms on the way. I don't think they're going to be anywhere as near intense as the one moving through currently, but do see a lot of lightning showing up. 300 just with this one. Let's just look at this one storm. It's got 300 lightning strikes, and still a couple of areas of rotation. Now let's go ahead and put this on a 30-minute loop. We'll slow it down. All right, that's as slow as it'll go on our loop. So, so this is the one that was rotating earlier. You notice there was a couple of areas of rotation. The first one that we were watching was that area south of Savannah. That's over here now past Hardin County. Second area of rotation came up out of Pickwick Dam. That's pretty much dissipated. And there's a third area of rotation coming up. This may be another tornado warning that gets issued with that one. So that's what's showing up along this little this supercell, loud little supercell. As it again, the worst of it's probably heading over into Collinwood here in about 15 minutes. But if you're watching us in Savannah, your severe threat's done with that one, but you still may have some gusty winds coming up behind it here in a little bit. So that's that one for you. Again, up north here, you've seen the worst of it's passed now through Paris, Henry, and Dresden. Down south, so Jackson, you saw it came through a little about 8:15. We had that line pass by, approaching Henderson now, extending down to the south. So we still have the cold front to come by. That's this on the back side. Just one last round of some weaker showers, I think. So you can pick up, so there's the cold front itself. Not a lot of moisture left for it to work with. Most of the thunderstorms going out in front of it. And look on the back side, that is snow that may try to wrap back around here on the system. But look at this lightning line extending now from Louisiana all the way up. We have the only tornado warning right now here into Henry County, and then extending all the way up north. But look at the snow even wrapping back around on the back side. So here's the futurecast. So by 10:30, we're expecting everything to pretty much clear on out. We could have some lingering light activity on the backside of the cold front. And then there may even be a little bit of snow flurries tonight. We're not expecting much, no accumulations, but there could be some flurries tonight into tomorrow. Here's another forecast model showing the worst of it clearing out here by about 10, 11 o'clock. Forecast models were about an hour ahead. Storm energy chasing off to the east as well. So here's our setup behind this cold front. Much cooler air on the way. This big area of high pressure as it comes in is going to drop temperatures all the way down near freezing tonight. We could be as low as the teens as we get going into Tuesday morning. That'll smash the cold temperature record there on Tuesday. There's what's left of our severe weather threat tonight. So it looks like they've really trimmed it down west of Madison, not only on the winds, but on the tornado threat as well, and then so the hail threat. So that's all kind of being cut off from the west here. So freeze warning, that goes into effect tomorrow morning at 4 a.m., and we'll get another one out as we get going into Tuesday morning. We're going to head back over to Max 2, and we're going to give Jordan a little bit of time at the wall to break things down. I'm going to get a drink. Jordan, go ahead.
All right, good news, folks, is we just got an update to the tornado watch. Actually, most of our western counties along the Highway 51 corridor, your tornado threat has been deemed over. However, if you're still in the yellow, you're not quite in the clear yet, but we're going to start to see some more of these counties cleared out over the next few hours. Now, behind this front, and even already starting now in some of those counties out of the tornado watch, temperatures are going to start to crash. We've got a freeze warning out that is going to take effect at 4 o'clock overnight tonight. Here's a look at live radar, and we're going to take you a little bit around West Tennessee. We still have that active tornado warning, but with a day like today, they said they were not going to cancel things early unless deemed necessary. We'll take a look over at the storm moving out of Henry County and Benton County over into Stewart County here very shortly, but that is going to be a pretty significant hail core that's going to make a close pass to Paris Landing State Park. Joel, could you tell me what that the wordage on that is? It's probably got to be at least quarter because we have a quarter-sized hail report from Big Sandy, but would not surprise me if it's up to maybe 1.25 inches of hail. Got a little bit of lightning on that one. We'll take things down south to our tornado warning. That is actually the area of rotation, I believe, is actually starting to cross into Wayne County, but this is the area we've been concerned with, or this is the newest area of developing rotation. The old rotation is beginning to cross over into Middle Tennessee, Wayne County there near Lutz. What we have right now is a little bit, it's broad, it's there, but it's broad right to the west of Big Ivy. We just see a little bit of green against a little bit of red, and that's what we've got. Here's the newest severe thunderstorm warning stretching from eastern Madison County, Henderson County, down to the Mississippi state line for eastern Hardeman, Chester County, most of McNairy County. This again is one of the weaker warnings. That leading edge stuff over into Hardin County really did a number in weakening this storm. There's not nearly as much juice left in this one, but we did query a few of the wind pixels. Still capable of producing some pretty strong winds, especially up in southern Madison County. That sample taken near Meaden registered a 67 mile per hour. But this again, we're a fair distance away from the Memphis radar. So this is sampling probably 2,000 or 3,000 feet above ground level. So that 67 mile per hour wind may not be making it down to the surface, but we've definitely seen enough damage reports, enough power outage reports to know that very well could make its way all the way down to the surface. The 50 and 51 down here near Hornsby and Middleton respectively. It's still pretty intense, not quite severe, but it's intense, and it could cause some minor damage here across West Tennessee. Here's a look at that energy that I showed earlier. It's starting to really wind down, especially west of Highway 45. It's almost completely out of Madison County. Basically, if your county is not currently covered in red, you're done for the night. That's going to include Lake, Obion, Weakley, Gibson, Dyer, Lauderdale, Crockett, Haywood, Tipton, Shelby, Fayette. Most of Madison, but not quite everybody just yet, off to the southeast towards Henderson. Henderson, the city, and Henderson County are both still dealing with a little bit of storm energy. But as this starts to wind down, we're going to start to see some things really start to wrap up for West Tennessee. We're probably going to be done by 10 or 11 o'clock. Futurecast, actually the latest Futurecast, has it well into Middle Tennessee, even the northern portion of the line east of Nashville by 11. But check out this. We may see some flurries tomorrow morning. Temperatures are going to crash down to the mid or low 30s, maybe even some upper 20s in some areas. But temperatures also not going to rebound very high. We're going to look at temperatures probably only getting up to about 34 degrees tomorrow at the warmest. And Futurecast is trying to tell you a story here. We're looking at temperatures flirting with destroying the record low for Tuesday morning by about almost 10 degrees. We've got it at 18. The old record is 25. And that is very, very much a possibility Tuesday morning. But we'll start to see spring come back later in the week. But we'll start to re-rack some of these graphics, give you one more look around the region. And it is looking like we're starting to see this little system wrap up its time here in West Tennessee. Let's actually see if we can take a look outside on our Savannah camera and see what we've got in the area right now. It's going to take a few seconds to boot up, but that's okay. I've got to actually, looks like Max 2 may have frozen on me, Joel.
All right, let's head back to Max 1 then. As I said, the systems have seemed to have been overloaded today. We'll let Jordan get that back up and give him another go at it here in a minute. All right, so here's what we're looking at. Again, everything's out of Madison County, besides just a couple of lightning strikes. You're done in Gibson County. You're done in Obion and Weakley County tonight. You're done in Henry County. It looks like Camden, though, you still got that line coming through with some heavy rain, gusty winds. Our tornado warning is out for another 2 minutes. So there's a chance we might be able to head back and at least catch some of the big awards there at the end of the Oscars if you've been waiting to watch that. If not, again, if you have, I think, cable service, abc.com, but we'll see about that. As these storms clear out, they're starting to weaken some. We've got a little bit of heavy rain still moving south of Henderson over through Selmer in Lexington, and our tornado warning again should expire in just about 2 minutes. We have a severe thunderstorm warning out till 9:45 still. That does include Lexington, Henderson, Selmer, but really not seeing any sort of extreme winds in that little line. And here's our tornado warning, again, out for about another 2 minutes. I don't see them extending this from the National Weather Service out of Nashville, but look at that hail core that our Doppler radar was picking up. Some intense hail that did go through there. A lot of winds here. I just don't see anything tight enough to reissue the tornado warning, and you see the Weather Service in Nashville went ahead and issued a severe thunderstorm warning for winds from this one, as it will be moving over into their area, crossing out of Harden County in the next couple of minutes. So up north, this is pretty much out of Henry County. Still some heavy rain through Camden, Big Sandy into Benton County. That's still continuing. Here's our line extending down to the south. You notice the whole line kind of bowing out a little bit, but I can't even really find it on the reflectivity anymore, showing you that it is weakening there south of Lexington, including, again, it's past us here in Jackson. But I can kind of see it if we zoom things out. So Camden down through Parsons, Selmer. You got some gusty winds coming into Selmer right now. 60 seems on the high side. We'll take a look at the velocity here in a minute in that area. But there's still a couple of kinks along the line, so still worth watching. But there's just the energy seems to be minimal, even if it does develop a kink to get a tornado, at least along the line. That one cell into Harden County was working on it. It was kind of doing its own thing. Wasn't really associated with the main line. That's why it was able to strengthen, I think, as much as it did. All right, here's the winds. The wind line now east of the Tennessee River, east of Kentucky Lake area. Camden, looks like you've seen the worst of it. You can pick up that wind line heading into Scotts Hill, Parsons here real soon. Kind of seeing the worst of it coming through Lexington and Henderson in the last 10 minutes. Doesn't look too bad for you. And then Selmer, look, here's the worst of the winds coming in for you with the line. Moving through Selmer, Raymer right now, then approaching Mickey, Stanton, Adamsville here in about 5 minutes. And then one last push through Harden County, but that Harden County atmosphere has really been worked over. I'd be surprised if you saw severe thunderstorm type winds with that line. There can't be much energy at all left to work with there after what you had just come through. But the tornado warning has been allowed to expire, but we still have that big severe thunderstorm warning tonight from Lexington down through Henderson. Jordan, you ready to give one more run at it, or did you pull up that camera?
Which camera did you want to see, Savannah?
Well, yeah.
We can try it one more time, but that's what caused it to crash on me. We'll give it another whirl, see
All right,
how it
we'll
does.
see. If it crashes, I can keep going. We're like the, we'll see. There you go.
But it still got some lightning
yeah,
there off in the distance.
Yeah, a lot of lightning there.
That's the second line coming in to Savannah there off to the west. But we'll start to see this again. We had that first line come through, the tornado warned storm. That is going to eat up a lot of the available energy, the available shear, everything, even the moisture. There may be a little bit of residual moisture left because there was a bit of a gap and we still have southerly winds on the surface, so may have been a little bit of a return for these storms to tap into, but it's not going to be enough. Again, we did have a pretty significant cut to the tornado watch. It's still out till 11 p.m., but several of actually all of our western counties have been cut out of it: Lake, Obion, Dyer, Lauderdale, Tipton, and Shelby. And again, as the night progresses here, probably within the next 15-30 minutes, we may see another slew of counties cut out of this, but it's going to take a bit because that line, especially south of I-40, is dragging back to the west. So that's going to hinder the SPC from or allowing Memphis to cancel the watch. But we still have a couple severe thunderstorm warnings. One for Benton County. We'll zoom over into that one. But that hail core has moved over towards really closer to Fort Campbell. But that wind line, like Joel said, is well into Middle Tennessee here across Kentucky Lake. There's still a little bit right there on the Benton-Humphreys County line just north of Highway 70. But again, this is where the hail core was a few minutes ago. It's not there anymore. We are looking at things changing pretty quickly. Tornado warning for Harden County was allowed to expire at 9:15. Again, that rotation started to, it's already drifted into Middle Tennessee. It's also started to bow out just to the north of Collinwood. And as we take a look at what's going on here over Big Ivy, there is still a little bit of broad rotation between Big Ivy and Lutz, but it's not going to be enough for a tornado warning, especially considering this county line right here between Hardin and Wayne County. That's that's the border to National Weather Service at Memphis. They can't go any farther east than that. Here's a look at that other severe thunderstorm warning. This is what our Savannah camera is pointed at. This cluster of lightning you see right here just to the northwest of Selmer. That's what we were looking at just a few moments ago. It's not a lot of lightning, but it's pretty intense lightning. It was lighting up the entire screen there. And this is still about probably 20-25 miles away from our Savannah camera. So these storms are tall tonight. We did get some scans, some slices. These storms got up to 50, 55,000. I don't think we got up to 60,000. It got cut off at the top of the screen for me. But these are some particularly tall thunderstorms, which means updrafts were strong. That means we had some pretty strong storms here. And we'll take another look at some of these. These are about 10 minutes old, these samples, but still 67 miles per hour near Meaden, still capable of producing some damage here on the south side of that storm. But we're looking at things starting to wrap up. We don't really have we don't have the active tornado warning. Our severe threat's starting to wrap up. We still have a couple warnings.
All right, real quick, Max 1 for about 15 seconds, and then we'll head back to the Oscars. Should give you time to at least hopefully see some of the big awards that are coming up. Are we going to continue online, though? Will someone let me know? All right. So we're leaving ABC right now, but we are going to stick around on our live platforms, Facebook Live and our YouTube channel. All right? All right. All right, so we're still tracking storms tonight. If you're just watching us on our live feed, we'll let Jordan get his graphics we wrecked since we kind of cut him off here in a minute. But still some heavy rain moving through Selmer, Scotts Hill, Parsons, heading over down near Savannah and Counts. So that's what we are watching. So 1 second. All right, so that's what we have left is a thunderstorm warning heading for Savannah. You're currently not under any warnings at all. There is one just to the southeast. That's out till 9:30. And then looks like, all right, so, yep, so we're going to continue to stay online, at least for the next 10 minutes, or if things get more exciting, then we'll continue to cover the storm system. But right now, things are looking pretty tame. We still do have, though, several severe thunderstorm warnings that are out. And it sounds like we are going to have our news tonight, which kicks off at 10 o'clock. Might run a little late due to the Oscars on ABC. That's a big storm, but it's just east of the river, heading over near Only. So that's a little, but our storm's looking pretty weak here. Parsons, Decaturville, Scotts Hill will slide it down. Some rain and lightning coming through Henderson, Bethel Springs, approaching Adamsville and Stantonville, down through Raymer. But again, if you're watching us in Madison County, Gibson County, Crockett County, Haywood County, Dyer, Lake, Obion, Weakley, and Henry, I think your severe threat is over. So I'll kind of circle the area still tonight where you might encounter a thunderstorm with some gusty winds. We'll get that pulled up for you here. So again, this is the area tonight still where you could deal with some stuff over the next hour or two. It does include Selmer, Savannah, Sardis, Parsons, but if you look at that line extending in those communities, it just doesn't look overly impressive. There's a big storm southeast of Counts, but that's about to move out of our viewing area. So we'll go ahead and look at that guy. I mean, he's pretty intense, but it's about to move on out. That could become a bigger problem, though, for, I believe that's Wayne County as it comes on by. That's a pretty intense storm, but it's past Savannah and a couple of the communities here. It just looks like gusty winds. Let me pull off the lightning, but Pollard's Mill, Big Ivory, Lowryville, Holiday Hills. So if you're watching us in that area, just stay away from windows for about the next 5-10 minutes until that system clears out. Turn on the velocity. It doesn't look like it's rotating or anything for you, but definitely some intense winds. Still a couple of wind pockets in that one. So I think that's probably the ugliest storm right now along this whole line. Like if we zoom this out, and I'll show you the line that goes all the way up across the country. So it extends all the way from East Texas, deep East Texas, through Louisiana, through Mississippi, and as far north as just south of Chicago, and then they got the snow on the backside. But we kind of just look along this line. You see there's still some hail producers down south. I guess those may be a little bit bigger storms than our storm. But that's all along the line. We've got two cells out in front of the line. That's this one and then this one, but the one heading into Only's east of the river. So this one could be pretty intense. Kind of got its own environment to work with. The main line itself still, there's even some hail down into Mississippi. But you'll notice let's just show the warnings here. I'll turn off the radar and the watches. And look, there's pretty much a steady line of warnings from central Louisiana all the way up into central Indiana. So those are all severe thunderstorm warnings along that line, which is now sliding to the southeast over through McNairy, Harden, Decatur County. It's pretty much past Henderson, maybe extreme eastern Chester County. Jordan, you want to take another run at the wall?
Yeah, we can take a stab at it. Looks like things are starting to calm down to the west of Savannah. That is, lightning has come down quite a bit. There's still a few flashes frequently, but it's nowhere near as intense as it was 5-10 minutes ago. We're starting to see these things really wrap up. That leading storm that had the tornado warning ate a lot of that available energy for this southern half of the line here across West Tennessee. But we'll give you another look at that watch. Again, well, there's the latest update. We've got Weekly, Gibson, Crockett, Haywood, Fayette. You're out. You are now done with the tornado watch, but we still have a few counties left in it. Madison's still in it, Chester, Harden, Henderson, Decatur, Benton, Carroll, Henry, and Hardeman counties. You are still in this tornado watch. But for the rest of us, you can prepare for temperatures to crash as we head into tomorrow morning. 4 o'clock in the morning, we're going to have that freeze warning take effect. We're going to see temperatures drop below 32 degrees. So if you haven't yet, don't plant. Wait. We'll see some warmer temperatures later this week. But that's going to be this week's problem. We can wait on that for tomorrow. We'll take a look around West Tennessee again. There's a little bit left in Benton County, but again, the biggest severe threat is now over into Humphreys County from Waverly south to Only. That is a pretty big hail core over there right along I-40 just inside of Humphreys County. We'll zoom in and show you some of these pixels. These light blue returns here you see near Elysian Grove, south of Waverly, and back towards Brewston. Those are 70-mile-per-hour returns. Now, back towards Brewston, we're farther away from the Fort Campbell radar, so probably not making it as far down to the surface as they would be here. But you saw this storm has a lot of lightning, has a hail core, so it is probably producing some pretty intense winds down at the surface. Now we'll take a look over to Hardin County. And we've got a new warning coming in. Joel, could you tell me what that is?
Yep, we'll pull it up for you on your screen. It's for that last little area that we were watching. That's this one. So it's out till 10:15. Let me zoom it out for you there on your screen, and I'll highlight it for you. It's kind of hard to see through all those colors and all those warnings, but there's the new one, Jordan. So you see it.
Okay, that's another downstream extension of that that second line. Okay, I see what you're talking about now.
Yep, and it's out for 60-mile-an-hour winds, nickel-size hail, just like the previous one was, and it is moving to the east at 50. So Same warning that we had basically along the line, and we haven't had any reports of severe weather over the last, I don't know, 45 minutes besides the cell in Hardin County, but that's the new warning.
All right, so we can verify this here in a few minutes as the second line moves into Savannah. We have ASOS data with the Savannah Hardin County Airport. That'll tell us whether or not this is actually making it down to the surface. But as of right now, we'll zoom in just a little bit. This is the area where we had a little bit of wind left in Hardin County. This is the last little vestige of that storm before it moves over into Wayne County. There is some weak rotation there near Pollard's Mill, but that's not going to be what we're concerned about. What we're going to take an eye on now is this Boeing segment just to the west of Savannah. That's where we're going to see some of our strongest winds. We may try to get a look, if we can look towards that direction. Oh, well, there we go. New scan, and that's showing us that it's fell apart a little bit with that newest scan. There's still some pretty clustered lightning right there in that storm, so that may be a little particularly intense portion. Maybe some small hail in there. That portion of the line would miss Savannah to the north. That would be closer to getting towards Saltillo there on the Decatur-Hardin County line. But this warning is going to go out until 10:15. Here's a couple looks at those new wind scans, and this was just taken about 4 minutes ago, still registering some 72-mile-per-hour winds. But again, we're far away from the Memphis radar, so this is not at the surface that we can confirm. We'll have to wait to see some kind of damage report, some kind of ham radio operators have been sending in reports all evening. In fact, that's how we got that 77-mile-per-hour gust in Gibson County earlier, but it's still 58 south of Henderson. That is severe. That is the threshold for severe. 72 is a little bit more than that. That is what we call considerable threat for severe thunderstorm warning. But we'll take a look and show you the energy again starting to drop pretty quickly. Now, this isn't updated every minute or every 2 or 3 minutes like radar. This is updated, I believe, once every 10. But as you can see, it doesn't look a whole lot different. Still got some energy in eastern Madison County, most of Chester County, McNairy, Hardin, Decatur, Benton. Still have their whole counties still have a few little ounces of energy left for some of these storms. But again, that first round we had, that really ate up a lot of that good energy. Here's a look at some of these potential wind gusts as we head into the rest of the evening and tonight. Still going to be dealing with around 30-mile-per-hour gusts even after this system gets through, but we could see those hang around until we get into the morning hours tomorrow. Again, the wind advisory doesn't expire until 7 a.m. And that is going to be up to 40-mile-per-hour gusts or 25-mile-per-hour sustained winds until it starts to die down. But we'll keep an eye on that over the course of the evening. And they have actually trimmed our hail risk. We starting to see the tornado risk drop pretty rapidly, and our damaging wind risk has now been pushed to Jackson a little bit east. We're starting to see these things wind down. We'll be giving you a full report on all of today's events coming up at 10 on the 10 o'clock news, and we'll see you then.
guessing they did it. Mic check 1, mic check 2, mic.
Mic check 1 2. Mic check. Mic. Our last few storms are on the way out. We have the severe weather recap from this afternoon and evening storms coming up.
Members of law enforcement team up to serve a warrant leading to the arrest of a suspected drive-by shooter. AT&T customers in Nashville are upset following internet disruption 7 weeks after January's ice storm. Plus, the U.S. Embassy is sending a strong message urging Americans to leave Iraq immediately. Coming up.
Now, from West Tennessee's News Channel, this is 7 Eyewitness News at 10.
Good evening and thank you for joining us right here tonight at 10. I'm Ryan Brooks. As much as I enjoy the sunny skies, Saturday is a severe weather alert day here in West Tennessee. We have meteorologist Jordan Hubbard here to give you a first look at that forecast.
And while we do have a few stray warnings left here across West Tennessee, those storms aren't going to amount to much. We are starting to see that start to wrap up. Now, you may notice a few clusters of unorganized showers and maybe a few lightning strikes there near Memphis. Folks, that's the cold front. That is it. We are done with just about everything. We've got a few more severe thunderstorm warnings we're going to track there. Mostly for, actually, it looks like the only one left there is for southern Decatur and Harden counties, and most of that storm is across the river into Middle Tennessee. So our severe weather threat here in West Tennessee is as good as done. We'll take you a closer look up to Benton County. Just a few showers from Big Sandy, Paris Landing State Park, all the way down Highway 641. We'll take you to Decatur County, where things are actually really starting to clear up just a bit. And we'll show you what radar had to say about how much rain we got. And it looks like the big winner is actually Decatur County. Radar estimates 2 inches of rainfall. Selmer just over 1.5 inches. Jackson and Savannah picking up around a 1/2 inch. Tornado watch still in effect for the eastern half of West Tennessee, but really it's over. We're done. We're going to see those counties get dropped here pretty quickly as we get into the show, but we will take a freeze warning into effect at 4 o'clock in the morning. Temperatures are going to crash tonight behind that front. Look at that. By 8 a.m. we're going to get all the way down from where we are now down to 33 with a wind chill. It's going to feel like 23, and we've got a record 18 forecast for Tuesday morning. So if you haven't planted yet, don't wait until Wednesday at least before we start to see some plants in the ground here. But good news is things are drying out. So we're going into a long-term period where we're not going to have any showers and storms here across West Tennessee. Here's a look at your weather headlines.
In a top story, members of local law enforcement team up to serve a warrant leading to the arrest of a suspected drive-by shooter. According to West Tennessee Drug Task Force, agents with the 29th District out of Dyersburg assisted Dyer County Sheriff's Office with a served search warrant in the 1000 block of Lipford Circle Thursday following an investigation. Task Force agents discovered that the suspect had recently been released on bond from charges stemming from a recent drive-by shooting in Missouri. At the time of the search, agents seized over a pound of marijuana, electronic scales with $574 in suspected drug proceeds, and 2 weapons. One male was taken into custody and is being charged with possession of a Schedule 6 controlled substance with the intent to sell, possession of a weapon during a commission of a dangerous felony, and possession of drug paraphernalia. Now time for traffic updates. High winds have been causing issues across West Tennessee today. Trees were reported down across roads and causing many delays. A very large tree came down where Anderson Cooper meets Old Medina Road. The massive tree blocked the roadway and owner's driveway as well. Jackson Energy Authority and Madison County Sheriff's Office were on scene while the removal was taking place. Also on Highway 18 between Bolivar and Jackson, a large tree was knocked down by the wind, delaying traffic. That debris cleared very quickly, though in Carroll County, a power line was also reported by Milan Utilities. That pole was located on Highway 70 near Flippin Lane. That power line caused some outages, and crews have worked quickly to replace it. Now, we had several outages, dozens of outages here in West Tennessee, and so we'll stay tuned for that here on the website to learn more about what you can expect for your weather coming up this week. Only on 7, athletes dressed in green and laced up their sneakers to take on a holiday 5K. Fleet in Jackson hosted its St. Patrick's Day 5K Fun Run and Walk this afternoon. The event took place at the business located at 398 Old Well Road in Jackson. The 5K was great for beginners or seasoned athletes, and participants had the option to run or walk at the event. The course was untimed and there was no fee to attend. I don't know if I would have been out there doing that today with all the rain we've been having. Keeping it local, it's the 8th annual night of worship for Union University. The occasion is hosted by Union University's music department at West Jackson Baptist Church. The theme is entitled My Testimony and features classic gospel hymns, popular contemporary songs, and scripture reading led by Union music students that speak to what God has done for his faithfulness for the future. It is free and open to the public and was also live streamed on YouTube.
This year's theme is My Testimony, and so we've got testimonies from our students, testimonies in our songs about what God is doing, has done, and we are believing and have faith that he will continue to do. We all have a story to tell, and God has been good to us, and we just want to share that with the community.
It's all about making a difference. If you're looking for more community events to be involved in at Union, head over to the Scene on 7 section of our website. That's wbbjtv.com. Across the state, some AT&T customers in Nashville are upset. They're saying they're still without service 7 weeks after January's ice storm. Hannah McDonald reports.
You don't want to hear this. About $380.
Butch Cage is about to pay his second hefty TV, landline, and internet bill for service he's not getting.
I guess there's only about 2 or 3 of us on the street that have AT&T. But if this is the way they're going to treat me after I've been with them for so long, I'm going to leave them.
The Cage family's service went out nearly 50 days ago on Championship Sunday.
I had to call somebody and see who won the game.
January 25th was also the day heavy ice hit Nashville, knocking out power and communication lines across the city.
That's the reason I really haven't been pressing the issue. But after this long, you know, that's not very business-like, I wouldn't think.
Butch directed us to cable lines still tangled in trees and laying on the ground about 8 houses down. Half joking, he said those might explain all the time he's had to fill.
No weather, no news. All we could watch is DVDs or CDs to entertain ourselves, or talk to your wife, you know. And that gets old after about a week, just sitting here talking.
2 trips out by AT&T technicians, 0 solutions so far. Their daughter is the one who provided them with a hotspot from Verizon.
Right, I mean, you know, it is a safety issue.
Butch, a retired firefighter, is beginning to worry his wife's mobility issues make this a serious safety risk.
If I wasn't here and she failed, you know, there would be no way for her to communicate, to get any kind of help.
When I asked why restoration is taking so long, AT&T said it would investigate and asked me for the customer's contact information.
So there I am, hung out to dry.
Now, across the country, the U.S. Embassy is urging Americans to leave Iraq immediately. In a message posted on social media, the embassy cited threats from Iran and its aligned terrorists. The message says U.S. citizens, U.S. interest, and critical infrastructure have already been attacked. The embassy also warns Americans face the risk of kidnapping. The warning comes after the security officials said the embassy was hit by 2 drones Saturday. The extent of the damage or any other injuries is unknown at this time. And more news across the country, 300 Transportation Security Administration agents have quit their jobs as the Homeland Security shutdown stretches into its 4th week. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy made an announcement Sunday. He also said that the number of TSA agent call-outs have doubled from when they were before the shutdown. Duffy said that agents have already missed a partial payment and a full payment, saying that the employees are those who, quote, don't make a lot of money. Duffy blamed the funding stalemate on political gridlock in Washington. Funding for DHS lapsed in mid-February during a political standoff between Republicans and Democrats over federal immigration enforcement. Coming up next, Michael George has the week's top health stories when we come back. Stay with us. Welcome back. In our Health Watch, experts take a look at how cancer impacts men and women differently and how COVID or the flu can raise your risk for other illnesses. Michael George has the week's top health stories.
A bad case of COVID or the flu could raise your risk of lung cancer. A University of Virginia study found that after a severe case of COVID or the flu, the lungs are left in an inflamed state that makes it easier for tumors to grow even years later. The good news is the research also showed that being vaccinated against COVID or the flu helped lower the risk. Women face lower cancer survival rates than men. A global study published in JAMA found that female cancer patients ages 30 to 60 had a higher death rate than male cancer patients, mainly due to breast cancer and gynecological cancers. The study's authors say more resources are needed for prevention and treatment of cancers that primarily affect women. A warning for teens who use AI to plan their meals. A new study in Turkey found meal plans created by AIs often don't have the necessary nutrients or calories that teens need. When compared to a nutrition plan created by a dietitian, the AI meal plans had on average 700 fewer calories. They also found AI meal plans are heavy on protein and fats. Those are some of the week's top health stories.
We've got a full look at your forecast coming up next.
And now, Storm Team 7 weather with meteorologist Jordan Hubbard.
Welcome back, folks. We had a few more counties trimmed out of that watch, so we'll give you the latest on that just in a few seconds, but we'll start with a look at live radar on Max 2. Then we'll hop over to Max 1 with a look over downtown Jackson. Our camera's a little tilted because we had to we move it, and it's not exactly level, but that's okay. We tilt it when we need to. 51 degrees. Temperatures are going to crash, folks, and this is nothing yet. That cold front's still not through Jackson. This live look brought to you by G&H Tree Service. We got all the way up to 79. Plenty of energy for those storms to tap into, especially when we only started at 62 this morning. Nowhere near the record low this morning. However, that is not going to be the case for these next 2 days, especially as we go into Tuesday morning. Here's a look at those temperatures. The cold front's still at the river, folks. We've got a while to go before it gets here in Jackson, but we're definitely going to start to see some of these temperatures come down pretty quickly behind that front. Selmer, Savannah still in the 60s. We've got 40s over here off to the west, and not too far away from that, we have 30s over in Arkansas and Missouri. Here's a look at those winds rushing out of the northwest, still 20 to 25 miles per hour out of the northwest. Now that that main line is behind us, this is all wrapping back around that low. The cold front's still well back here to the west, but 25 sustained will get you a wind advisory through 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, and we'll show you this moisture content. And well, you can definitely see where the storms are still going on down in Savannah, a dew point of 62, very humid still. Here's a look at that watch. All we have left under the tornado watch, Decatur, Harden County, that's it. Everybody else removed, and we'll start to see that freeze warning take effect here in about 6 hours, and we're going to see temperatures crash down to the low 30s by tomorrow morning. And even Tuesday morning, we're still under a freeze watch. I'm surprised they haven't upgraded that to a freeze warning yet, but we will see those temperatures going into Tuesday crash down to about 18 across much of West Tennessee. Here's a look at the surface map. We are done with warnings as of the last few minutes, but we do have a long chain of warnings down from the pretty much Lake Charles, Louisiana, all the way up to the Great Lakes right underneath that warm front just southeast of Chicago in north central Indiana. But this cold front right here, it is dragging tons and tons of cold air down to the mid-south. But check out all this snow. There's a chance we get a flurry tomorrow morning, by the way. It's not going to be enough to cancel school, but it is enough to say bring a surprise to your face, that's for sure. Now, this same system that brought all this damaging wind, maybe a few tornadoes in some places, probably not here in West Tennessee, though, from what we've seen. It's also going to bring about 3 feet of snow to north central Wisconsin. So it is one doozy of a system. High pressure is going to move in, and it's going to control the forecast for the next couple of days. Now, you see these disorganized showers and storms, especially back off to the west, pretty much right up behind this last little bit. That's the cold front. We're getting there, and it looks like National Weather Service in Nashville has issued a tornado warning. That is going to be a continuation of the storm that had the tornado warning back in Savannah, but we'll zoom out just a little bit. Not a lot of storm energy left. In fact, it's just about Big Ivy over in southeastern Harden County that's got any energy left. And here's a look at that wrap. We didn't get any pictures like we normally like. It's probably because we still haven't gotten the whole email scenario straightened out just yet, but thousands, not 1,000, multiple thousands of people without power across West Tennessee. We've got several reports of large trees down, and we've even, not here in West Tennessee, but nearby when we had some of those tornado warnings, funnel cloud reports sent in. Now let's take a look at some of these forecast wind gusts because they're not going away anytime soon. We've got them sticking around at least above 25 miles per hour well into tomorrow morning. Well, let's go ahead and give you a look at your 7-day forecast brought to you by Lonnie Cobb Ford and Henderson. Don't be surprised if you see a few flurries tomorrow morning, but we're going to have a record cold morning on Tuesday before spring comes back on Wednesday, and maybe even a taste of summer into the weekend.
Thank you, Jordan. Coming up next, the Huntington Phillies and Dyersburg Lady Trojans both competed for a state championship. We'll tell you how they did. Plus, the early estimates for the top 5 films in theaters when we come back. Welcome back. In sports this weekend, the Huntington Phillies competed in the Class 2A state championship against York Institute. The game was neck and neck between the two teams with several lead changes. But in the fourth quarter, Huntington found themselves down by as many as 7 points with just 3 minutes to go. The Phillies would hit back-to-back threes to get back in the game along with free throws to take the lead. The Phillies would get one last stop to seal their fate as the Huntington Phillies are your Class 2A state champions. They won with a final of 43-41. And the Dyersburg Lady Trojans also competed in competition. In the state championship, they did battle with White County for the Class 3A title. State title. Standout guard Shelby Jordan had 15 points in the first half alone. Once the second half started, White County got into a rhythm and settled into their offense. However, due to Coach Strayhorn, second half adjustments, his defense forced steals and got out transition to close the deal. The Dyersburg Lady Trojans are your next Class 3A state champions. They win with a final of 54-45. In entertainment, Oscar weekend is focused on the best films of last year, but current movies are duking it out in the box office. David Daniel has the early estimates for the top 5 films in theaters.
What are the rules, y'all? Small case ball.
GOAT fell to 5th place on $4.7 million in ticket sales.
Oh, I'm not hiding, Sydney.
Scream 7 made $8.4 million for 4th place and a domestic total of $106.5 million.
10 mysterious audio recordings from an anonymous email. Let's keep an open mind, Evie.
The audio-oriented horror movie Undertone opened in 3rd place with $9.3 million.
Coming back was a mistake.
I want to meet the human that Scotty and I made.
Reminders of Him was the top new movie, grossing $18.3 million for a 2nd place debut.
We created a revolutionary technology that gives us unprecedented access to the animal world.
A 2nd straight weekend win for Hoppers, which made $28.5 million for a 10-day domestic total of $87 million. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
We've got one more look at the forecast coming up next. Welcome back, folks. We're going to be getting warmer and warmer every day of the next 7 weeks. Can't count out a few flurries tomorrow morning, especially north of Jackson, but we are going to be looking at another chilly St. Patrick's Day before spring comes back on Wednesday. Maybe even summer comes back this weekend.
All right, well, thank you, Jordan, and thank you for watching. Catch us back tomorrow.